Islamism without the schism, on a rise upon the seven within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, noble Drew Ali, Al Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution, and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our Holy Prophet brought to make us a nation. But let us call forth our beloved Consul General of the Texas Territory, Dr. Marvin Nathaniel Ellis Bay, that he may open up our hearts and minds as he opened up the way. Islam, Islam, Islam.
Islam family, gratitude. This is Dr. Marvin F. Bay out of Texas Territory. Rising, giving all praise to the great God of Allah, giving highest honors to his prophet, our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. Give high honors to our theocratic government, our Moorish American government. Give high honors to our Act 1. Give honors to all of our officials. I give high honors to our class, our ears class. Give honors to our host and instructor, Dr. Shahid Amani Al-Muhajir Sepsual, Shedu Amiti Al-Muhajir Sepsual. As well, I give honors to everything that's Moorish. And everyone on the panel and those come in the audience. And I will be, in everything that's Moorish, and I will be opening our class according to law. And I will begin with our Cometian, Moorish American Cometian at their prayer. And I'll begin. Ya Allah Nuheru Meku Neteru. Ya Allah Ebheru. Ya Allah Ma'at Heru. Ya Allah Hoteperu. Ya Allah Heru. Ya Allah Ma'at Herkuti. Ya Allah Awachet Juti. Ya Allah Patem Sutek. Patem Heru. Ya Allah Bamatuti. El Hedges Ray of Tuali. Amen. Holiest. In transliteration. O Allah, the Father of the universe. O Allah, the Father of love. O Allah, the Spirit of truth. O Allah, the Spirit of peace. O Allah, the Spirit of freedom. O Allah, the Spirit of justice. O Allah, you are my protector. O Allah, you are my guide. O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day. O Allah, through your holy prophet. O Allah, through Ali. Amen. Holy Issa. And now I'll be reading our Divine Constitution of Moorish America. Salvation, our God, unity. The Divine Constitution of Moorish America, Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of Moorish America are in power to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. Bylaws, Act 2. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, All citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America. And then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America. Now this meeting has been opened according to Act 2, Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Now I'll be handing this meeting over to our National Assistant Grand Secretary of the State of State, Dr. Dendra Nia Curtis Bay. Islam Goddess, you there?
Islam, I am here. Gratitude, God, man. I am Dr. Dendra Nia Kurtabe. First, let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act 1. I give honors to all my government officials. I give honors to our National Assistant Grand Sheik for hosting this class this morning. I give honors to our Council General of Texas, Dr. Marvin Edwards Bay, for opening us up according to law. And at this time, I will be reading our chapter of the week coming from our Holy Quran, chapter 70. And it reads, The End of Time and the Fulfilling of the Prophecies. Every prophet leaves the holy book of guidance for his nationals. Drew Ali's 4 of 4. The last prophet in these days is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem men from their sinful ways and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Yahushua in those days, to warn and stir up the nation and prepare them to receive the divine creed which was to be taught by Yahushua. In these modern days, there came a forerunner who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old-time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of men, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and return to their own and be one with their Father God Allah. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization, and its subordinate temple that desire to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa there is still much wisdom, to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of men under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We, as a clean and pure nation, descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve their gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah: honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be longer upon the earth land which the Lord thy God Allah has given thee. Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We are trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourself with the families of nations. We honor all the true and divine prophets. Islam, Islam, Islam. Now we'll turn everything back over to our host, our National Assistant Grand Chief, Dr. Sadua Miti El Maheja Sepsuel. Are you there, Godman?
Islamism. Can you hear me, Goddess and Queen?
I can hear you well. Islam.
Gratitude. Islamism without the schism. Let us rise again upon the seven within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything. And I do mean everything that our holy prophet brought to make us a nation. I want to welcome you to another Egyptian Adeptus Research Sultanate session, EARS. And I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Mohadi Shabazz El. And my ancient Comedian high name being the same is Shedawu Mintiel Mohejet Shepsuel. And we have a grand drawing to bring forth to our Moorish kin. So we ask that you have your paper and pen on handy and move through this information with us, because without your participation, and elevation, then how can we bring our people education? So at this time, what we're going to do, as we normally do, we always lay a foundation when we go into our next phase, to bring our people into a good foundation that they'll have something to stand upon and know where we coming from. So our subject will be dealing with, because we are now done with the hieratic lessons in this particular cycle, and we are now headed into the Demotic, so the ancient Egyptian Demotic, Egyptian script, which is known as Second Shat. That's the actual proper name to use. This is MATHENO'S lesson 1B, and we're going to continue to go into this particular drawing. So we just say gratitude, Islamism without the schism. And at this time, we're going to call on our scribes to read from the Book of Fire. Islam, beloved brother. We're going to start at page 321, an ancient Kemetic / Moorish history.
321.
Yes, sir. And we can go above, we can stop above, be conscious of biblical beginnings on page 322.
Islam.
Okay, and then we have our next scribe to come forth.
Islam.
Goddess and Queen. We have Be Conscious of Biblical Beginnings on 322. And you can take us over to, let's see, I want to make sure I get this last one here right. Okay, you can take us to above back to the Greeks on 320.
Yes, sir.
Islam. And then next, scribe. Islam, beloved brother Marvin Edwards Bay. You can take us from back to the Greeks on 324 to the value of a divine history. You can read that and end it above the making of the first God, Ish and Ish on 326. Islamism. All right, brother Bati Bey. I'm about to. You may proceed.
Islam. First, I'd like to rise, give all man and praise to Allah, honest to the Prophet, honest to our theocratic government, our royal council, our flag, seal, emblem, our divine constitution, our swift angels, muftis, citizens alike, honest to all the Moors that are here in attendance in the sound of my voice, honest to our professor on this journey, Dr. Shedu Amintia Mohadi Sabazir, honest to our panel as well. And I will begin. An ancient Kemetic Moorish history. The illustrious Prophet Noble Drew Ali was the first Moorish American patriot to teach the lost-found descendants of Africans the truth about Adam and Eve. He said, "They are the mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatic and Muslims. Although the entire human family began in Africa, the majority of the true history has been secretly kept from their children in the Americas. A whitewashed European version of Adam and Eve has been force-fed through Christianity to these African children during the subjugation of the mother continent. Until the advent of the Holy Prophet, the Western world saw the first human family on earth through spectacles that had been prescribed with falsehood, myths, hypocrisy. Through these European designer glasses, the modern world saw only a pale-skinned Adam and Eve, whom lived in a mystical Garden of Eden. This Eden had an exclusive for white folks only sign at the entrance. Also, in the black psyche, this Eden was propagated to be in the well-off white folk settlement, and with the exception of being infested with a talking snake, was believed to be the only heaven a good Negro could possibly, perhaps, maybe, pray to reach in the sweet by and by after they die. To this day, most religious circles accept this dark age story as the word of God. Since slaves are bred to have short memories, most ex-slaves habitually still serve the God of their former slave masters. This God could not be perceived nor defined beyond the realms of the very church that ordained the denationalization and enslavement of African worshippers. When Drew Ali first brought the true history of Africans to the Moorish, they became awed at its infinite, universal, and deific depth. To this day, of all the millions of Negro churches in the United States with countless Bible thumpers, there is not one so-called African Christian with full relationship knowledge to the true origin of Adam and Eve. The story of Adam and Eve is actually the original verbal history account of the first civilized people of Africa. It is the truth of their divine origin, fall, and attainment to perfection, being told by wise men to all initiates. The glory of this first ancient Israelites, the glory of this first man and woman represents the complete cycle of the great God in man. Thus, this circle of life was called Emmanuel by the ancient Israelites. The holy story of Adam and Eve is the divine essence of a charted course that all men must ultimately follow. There is no escape from the fixed destiny endured in the historical infinity of the story of Adam and Eve. Without the pure knowledge of one's derivation, any person armed only with human knowledge, will face the instability of their karmic presence while awaiting an obscure future. Without the true knowledge of Adam and Eve, carnal man will believe he lives in the make believe life that is trapped between birth and death. In this chapter, the required do or die light of Adam and Eve will be revealed. How the esoteric history of Adam and Eve has been used to lessen gods into humans and reduce humans into Negroes. The deliberate burial of the true value of the first family on earth will lay bare the dark aging of a people. The state of ignorance about Adam and Eve has also been used directly to secure the institution of slavery in the Western Hemisphere. This state served the paternal roots of nearly a half a billion African nationals, detaching them from the human family, while the marks of Negro, Black, and colored people NBCs, with the marks of Negro, Blacks, and colored people NBC. Every nation that claims attachment to the human family has had their Adam and Eve and their Eve. The Bible is full of Adam and Eves. However, most of them are shrouded under the terms begot or begotten. In fact, the Adam and Eve genealogy of Yehoshua the Christ through his father Joseph and Mother Mary in the books of Matthew's 1 to 16 and Luke 3:23 to 38 are sound examples of how serious African nationals truly are about their divine origin. Adam is the founding father of the human family of nations and is the first patriot. Other more renowned Adams are the great Ham and the lineage of the Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. Also, there is undeniable father divine of many nations, Abraham, which his son Ishmael and Isaac. All of these are Adams of great nations, civilizations, and religions. Their later sons actually subdivided the first religious creed, the ancient Kemetic mystery system, into Judaism and Islam. See chapter 18. Most Americans can now relate to George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Quincy Adams, etc., as being the founding fathers of the United States of America. By divine design, they are the indisputable Adams of the USA. However, today's problem with the same Americans is they have very little understanding when it comes to their ex-slaves being a clean and pure nation with their own Adam. Hence, the purpose of our subtitle, The Exhument of a Nation, to the biography of Noble Drew Ali, indeed also by divine design, as revealed in the biography. The prophet Noble Drew Ali is the return of Adam. By this design, he is the first patriot and indisputable founding father of the lost found tribe of Ali. The new Moorish American nation. It does not take the research ability of a master historian to realize the existence, absence, and exhuming of this cornerstone of the human family, and that only Noble Drew Ali, having been born among them, proclaimed his nation as his by their one divine name and number. Drew Ali states, all Adams and Eve are the mothers and fathers, yet they are one. Hence, the honoring of one's father and mother became one of man's first obligations and source of strength. The so-called Negro race and other NBC people are the only people on earth today without mother and father from which to honor. Matthews 15:1-4. High paternal honor has been a covenant among African nationals since their fall into humanity. It is more holistic in cultures than any modern day religious concepts and breathes on every civilized family's origin, genealogy, and heritage. Drew Ali also taught the Moorish Americans that they are olive-skinned Asiatics, angels, and have the same Adam and Eve father and mother, as those who guarded the holy city. See Genesis 3-4, 3:24, and question 57 to 60, 57 to 63. He educated the Moors in the fact they are the direct children of Adam and Eve. This may seem somewhat acceptable as common knowledge by those in this age of cyberspace and optic centers. However, in 1913, the most American Negroes, however, in 1913, most American Negroes actually had been trained to believe their present ideal of Yehoshua, God, and his mother Mary were all pale skinned and opposite of themselves. To say the least, to them, God's first man and woman of the Bible had to be ever so white. As far as good Christian colored people were concerned, the first white family of God in their home, a Garden of Eden, was a delicious and evasive slice of the pie in the sky after you die. Surely the garden was where all white folks and a few good Negroes went to if they were blessed. Prior to the advent of this angel of Allah, question 41, the Moorish of North America were miseducated into a dark age of Christianized Darwinism and denationalized pseudo-life. As unconscious Negroes, blacks, and colored people, NBCs, they were deceived into believing Adam and Eve were two Europeans in a God's mystical paradise. It is only natural for a few NBC and some self-proclaimed white folks to defend 2,000 years of deception with the modern Christian statement, it doesn't matter what the color of Adam and Eve were, we are all children of God. Even a crash dummy would reply with, since the skin color of God and Adam and Eve was not important, then why was it biblically taken away and replaced with pale skin? This bitter bit of history of a people mental status should be well remembered as we now ultimately endeavor into Adam and Eve, as originally told by the ancient ones. But first, let's uncover some more of the 2,000-year-old hoax. Adam and Eve has been mostly told by thieves. No oppressor, slave master, or otherwise ruling government has ever written the accurate history of his or her captives. The Babylonians, the Comedians, the Romans, Islamic rulers, Euro-Christian governments, etc., all have slanted the history of their victims to reflect themselves as superior saviors of the wretched of the earth. Naturally, they were all merely doing their God's will to subjugate or annihilate the inferior enemies in order to save them from themselves. Such history will reflect the victors as having saved the wretched from the assumed inevitable doom. The Greco-Roman interpreted writings of the Israelites' history are by far a prime example to support this reoccurring fact. It turns out, according to prophetic destiny, the pale-skinned nations of Europe are today's controlling world rulers, straddling the current cusp between the Piscean and Aquarian age. Naturally, their great book, which tells his story of the conquered people of African descent, is the foremost propagated and most read book in recorded history. The Bible, the Bible. The Bible, by far the greatest book of collected African history to be written by Europeans, oddly enough, was not written by Africans, and it is not the infamous Word of God. No, God did not write the Bible. The Greeks from Europe wrote the first draft of the Bible, and it was called the Septuagint. See Religious Finale. Noble Drew Ali said, you cannot control how another man writes your Moorish history, but when you get the pen in your hand, write your own. Tell the truth and sign your name to it. The ancient Comedians have enslaved the tribes of Israel, misnomer them collectively as Hebrews. This was a very degrading label and not the free national name of the peoples. This remaining This renaming of this renaming or labeling one's chattel is not a new phenomenon. Historically, slave masters have never addressed their slaves by their free names. Slaves, as with all properties, are given slave names. This is because they are conquered people and classified by their rulers as inferior and less than a first class citizen or lower. This is standard procedure based upon the strength that no slave can ever be greater than his or her master. In the modern days, history has repeated itself with the renaming of the West African Moors into Negroes, blacks, and colored peoples, NBC. And like the so-called Hebrews, after generations of being called names other than their own, the branded slave labels became accepted as normal. Once any living thing began responding to the summons or calling outside the purity of its own natural freedom, it has been domesticated. Indeed, within the slave world of Hebrews and blacks, some would rather die trying to be what they are not than to live being themselves. See 13th and 14th Amendment. Still, as soon as Moses freed the tribesmen from the Pharaoh's oppression and they got on their feet, they freshly freed nation slandered their former slave masters as Egyptians. The derogatory label Egyptian replaced the true name Comedian Gods of the Nile. In all the Hebrew communication and publications, and so it remained until this day. Similarly, in this era, the European rulers called the descendants of Amexem Akabulan Negroes, colored, and blacks. As the so-called blacks were free to read and write, they called their slave masters white. And the beat goes on, and the revolving doors of Maya continue going to and fro. The Israelites, Hebrews, Yehoshua, etc., of 2,000 years ago did not write the Bible, a history book about themselves and their verbal account of their creation and fall of man. In fact, the Torah was over 1,000 years old when the Greeks wrote the Bible. The Torah contains Israel's story in their divine accuracy. So there was really no need for another book of accounts. Ergo, since the Israelites through which Yehoshua was born had no use for a book written by their oppressors about them, then who did? Obviously, the authors, whether they milked a council of 70 rabbis to get it or not, it was still written for the benefit of the Greeks, Romans, and subsequent nations of Europe. See chapter 18. And with that conclusion, I will now turn this meeting over to Grand Secretary of State, Dr. Hatshepsut Tutankhamun Islam.
Islam, gratitude. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our Prophet, Noble Jurah Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our ears class, to all of our Moorish kin that open up according to law, to Act 1, and to our host instructor, Islam. Be conscious of biblical beginnings. To this day, most do not know they have been lied to by those who wrote the word of God in their Koine (street) Greek language. The biblical Adam and Eve saga was among the first literature the slaves were allowed or force-fed to read, and was greatly enforced with barbaric dosages of, quote, the fear of white man God, end quote, by European rulers and slave masters alike. This was the sole purpose for Freemasonry, the Reconstruction Amendments, and the Ku Klux Klan. Their establishments were to save these black sinning heathens from their own wretchedness and for the unconscious institutions of slavery's new world order. Albeit, since the Greek's biblical version is the only version of Adam and Eve known to so-called blacks, then let's sojourn there and see what they look like in the light. But bear in mind the divine origin of the original Hebrew laws of Moses began in the Egyptian mystery system, and the basic European translation of these biblio teachings evolved into a middleman religion of events, parentheses, which quite candidly he brewed up. Also, remember now as the Moorish Americans begin to write their own history, had it not been for Noble Drew Ali's revealing these great truths of the divine origin of African nations, the Western world would not be forced to concede to over 2,000 years of fabricated religious dogma with their information highways and cyberspace intelligence. The true story of Adam and Eve is all about the divine creation and heritage of the original African people. They were not only the first man to people the planet Earth, but their will was emerged with the will of their Father God. Drew Ali placed this in the science of Asiatics and Muslims, the mothers and fathers of the human family, question number 57. Here, it would be good to note, a Muslim is anyone who submits his or her will entirely to the will of the great God. Hence, Adam and Eve were Muslims before they became Asiatics and human. During the millenniums of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and into the world called Asia, there were no Europeans made. The hueless ones of the Netherlands were not even a thought. But now, today's pale-skinned nations have had the privilege of governing the earthland, telling his story. All of a sudden, they are the foremost authority on the original, quote-unquote, first family, Adam and Eve. Surely this is parallel only to a bastard, given the apocalypse of great-grandparents, or hearing fish stories being told by date trees, or a mutt telling the history of his pedigree, or the green monkey that fathered AIDS. Speaking of monkeys, how is it an entire people who proudly proclaim to evolve from primates know the true history about the human family? Was it not these same people who pillaged the prophetic and oral history from the Hebrew tribes in the first place? Not only that, but as unconscious Moors try to paint themselves black into a biblical history, little do they notice it is the pale-skinned nations of Europe themselves who denounce all claims to the biblical, quote-unquote, human family. This paganistic practice of making God in the image and likeness of man is a gratified weakness among the nations of the earth. In these modern times, the nations of Europe named themselves white, then made Yehoshua in their image and called him God. Domesticated African slaves being forbidden first-rate entry into quote-unquote white Freemasonry and quote-unquote white Christianity were allowed to make their own versions of these institutions in the quiet of their slave quarters. Today, these are various NBC fraternal orders, or there are various NBC fraternal orders and Christian denominations, fully equipped with their own versions of the Bible, complete with black Yehoshuas and surrounding characters in their image and likeness. Oh, the horrors of fallen humanity. Can all this be blamed on the rabbit hormones of Mr. and Mrs. Monkey? The biblical story of Adam and Eve, as told by many religions of the cross, originated from Moses and various Hebrew slave tribes of Africa. Most of these tribal stories lost their spiritual significance in the translations from African origins to European carnal comprehension. What was later reported to the world, diluted and spiritually deprived versions of Greek interpretations of the creation and fall of man. These diverted rays of the truth were not the real thing, but have predominantly hatched the modern West. Not to speak radical against the church, but it seems to me anyone who teaches man cannot be perfected and then give the great God a mama named Mary should know eventually they would have to face the truth sought by inquiring minds. How did the Greeks fit into biblical history? Turning to the centuries surrounding the life of Yehoshua, BC to AD, history reveals the Romans and Greeks were governing Palestine, question number 28. In fact, Greek was made the national language, although the indigenous, like Yehoshua, continued to speak Aramaic, 2 Kings 18:26 and Ezra 4:7, the tongue of their forefathers. This is similar to English being made the national language of the United States, although the surviving Canaanite tribes, parentheses Indians, continue to speak Athabascan, and other indigenous dialects. True history will also reflect the Greeks thought all languages other than Greek sounded like blah blah, ho hum de blah, and considered all non-Greeks barbarians. There are two levels to the Greek language: classical, correct or proper Greek, and coin. Coin Greek is the everyday common street language with standard colloquial, trash talking expressions and general ad-libbing Greek. After the beginning, coin became the Word of God. You guessed it, the Septuagint, first translation of the Bible, was translated entirely in Koine Greek. Naturally, since the Greeks and Romans gave themselves the title of God, question number 92, and wrote their Bibles in Greek and Latin, it is not strange for today's Black Christians, etc., to defend their master's book as the Word of God. To most of them, the only God they have ever known is the same masters which wrote the Bible and then used the same book to justify the ma'afa of African enslavement. Actually, the origin of the Word of God began as the words of the ancient pharaohs and simply means voice of the ruler of the land. Question number 93. People, namely so-called Negroes, who refer to the Bible as being the Word of God, are in fact giving praises to the words of the Greeks. And through various paganistic forms, they are pleasing to themselves, make Europeans, parentheses, white men, their God. This does not mean there are no truths in the Bible. Quite the contrary. What this means is the Bible is not and was not ever the Word of God, but the words of the Greeks. It does not matter how much the NBC pastors hawk, sweat, and spit in the name of Jesus. The letter J, pale-skinned God, and all came from the Greeks and was traumatized into the slaves by their European brothers. It must be remembered, in the minds of the Greeks, they were the only gods. As a people, they could not fathom a divine origin and subsequently could not perceive a God greater than themselves, unless it was an African God-man whom they call Yehoshua to this very day. No European nation ever knew or worshipped the great God. As Drew Ali wrote, man's highest ideal is his God. The Greeks, at their greatest, were not powerful enough to completely hide the holy light of Africa that was centralized in ancient Kemet, parentheses, Egypt. Nevertheless, once the truth has been confounded, it is no longer pure and can do more harm than healing. Where the Greeks and other Europeans have fallen short on African comprehensions is for anyone to know the Spirit, they must be the Spirit. The Greeks, neither Romans nor any of the pale-skinned invaders of the Holy Lands, never fully understood the spiritual foundation of Hebrew, Aramaic, sister language to Arabic, nor any of the other 200 languages of Akubalan. Note, Kubalan means mother of mankind or Garden of Eden. It is in the descendant language Swahili of the ancient Kushite. Akubalan is the indigenous name given to the continent later misnomered Africa by the Romans. Her first true and divine name is Amexium, which means land of the holy gods or land of the holy people. Moorish Holy Quran 46:3. The reason for this lack of transliteration is not because Africans were the primitive monkey-built pagans as portrayed by virtually every European Bible pusher since Constantine, 280 through 337 AD. It is simply because they could not understand the boundless spirit realm. They could not measure what they could not see with their carnal eyes. The world of hallowed covenants, holistic cultures, and the line uniting divinity and matter is incomprehensible to those unable to see inward. See the third eye. This was the foremost lesson for the Adamites to learn. Whenever European rulers fail to understand the infinite and the timeless, they will either try to destroy or distort the subsequent manifest. These thoughts draw strength from the bowels of envy, lust, and hatred. It is in the nature of hatred to be short-sighted, a slave to time, and fearful of anything it does not create. Therefore, The foundation of the Bible rests upon a great conspiracy. It was the amalgamation between the Sanhedrin, beginning with Caiaphas, and the government of European rule to nationalize the Jewish religion under the Roman government. The world's greatest cover-up since Adam tried to hide from his maker had begun. Rome's subjugation of Israel's religion is rooted in the famed crucified death and resurrection of Rabboni Yehoshua. Those Jews who would not conform to the government's version of Judaism were later called Christians, not because they were pious like Yehoshua the Christ, but because the title Christian distinguished the rebellious Jews from those willing to compromise under the Roman yoke and law. Yes, the first Christians were Jews. This is why Yehoshua warned John to beware of those who call themselves Jews and are not. Revelations 2:9. Today, this Roman assumable jurisdiction of civil customs is reenacted in the United States takeover of prohibition and the lotteries, numbers games, etc. Remember, selling liquor and running numbers were crimes of felony when acted by America's common people, but a government control of poor people's pleasures was legalized by the use of one word, license. A license is a document of authorization to practice that would otherwise be illegal. Black's Law Dictionary. Oppression can do strange and often unimaginable things to the human mind. Weak-minded Jews become Christians the same way pork-free African Muslims have become pig-feet-eating Negro Christians of USA today. The powerful effects of oppression have never been truly measured on the minds of U.S. slaves. The Bible, with its Hebrew/Greek version of Adam and Eve, was siphoned from the Israelites during their state of iron hand oppression. The Greeks recognized the Cometheian (Egyptian) influence in the Mosaic laws because Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Hippocrates, etc., had all received their formal education in the Egyptian mystery system, not to mention the notorious Alexander the Greek. The reader should also remember Moses, being raised as an Egyptian aristocrat, received the foremost teachings of its ancient Adept mystery system. These teachings also included perfection of the God self with its powers of dominion over all other living things created by the seven eyes of Allah, the Elohim. This is why the Pharaoh's heart appeared hardened. Pharaoh simply knew all the sciences of the God-man, which Moses had mastered before being exiled. The Egyptian sages were simply not impressed with the exploits by one of their former students, who they viewed now as a traitor for taking the secret teachings into those forbidden lands in the north. Yehoshua the prophet also received these lessons, summum bonum, in the Egyptian temples featuring Sutanothi, meaning man, know thyself. See religious finale. And at this time, we want to turn the meeting into the hands of our Consul General of Texas, Dr. Marvin Edwards Bey. Islam?
Islam. I'm Dr. Marvin Edwards Bey out of Texas. Giving praise and honor something different. And I began reading back to the Greeks. The books of Moses, collectively called the Torah, translated from the Hebrew language containing no vowels into the Greek, lost a world of spiritual definition in the very first draft of the Bible's Old Testament. The Greek version of the Holy Bible, called the Septuagint, the Greek word for 70. 70 is also the Egyptian number for brotherhood. The Septuagint acquired its title from the council of 70 rabbis that convened to translate the Torah into a low-class Greek language. All subsequent Bibles trickled down from this one. For example, the Roman Catholic Latin, the infamous King James Version, spurned more than 3,000 variations, edited, revised, and fraternal. Word of God. Did I mention the Holy Quran and the ancient Bhagavad Gita, has never been changed? This history is pertinent to Adam and Eve because most of the westernized world is only aware of their biblical version. Yet, the Bible was never written by a single prophet, as are other sacred tablets. This is because every major prophet always leaves a holy book of guidance for their special people. And while most Christian scholars are drenched in a maze of unresolved questions about Adam, Eve, Cain, the flood, Moses, the missing 18 years of Yehoshua's life, etc., etc., rarely does anyone question who titled the Bible holy in the first place, or who said it is the Word of God. Another master question is, since there is no difference between the great God and his name, who is the God of the who is the God that wrote the Holy Bible? Truth is, the era of Moses was about 1300 BC. The oldest Hebrew story in the Bible only dates back to a little less than 4,000 BC. Good gracious. There are pyramids and mounds older than these Hebrew stories. The ancient seafaring Moabites had circumnavigated the entire continent of Amexem by 8,000 BC. There were many African civilizations that gave birth to the tribes of Israel, collectively known as Hebrews. In fact, it is not strange that Adam's son Cain already knew his wife, although they were in Nod, east of Eden, Genesis 4:16 through 17. The entire story of Adam and Eve marks the two great civilizations. The first was during the founding of Atlantis, Lemuria, and Mu. This one was before the catastrophic earthquake, which is often confused with a 40-day biblical monsoon called the flood. When Moses led the tribes out of Egypt east into the promised land, did I mention the Moabites were already using Moab? The Amorites were busy in Ammon, and there were some Canaanites still in Canaan. In other words, the promised land was already being occupied by natives of that era. An accurate history would also reflect that the promised land was another lawful province of ancient Kemet, Egypt. During this time, the only gods of the civilized world were the pharaohs who were the rulers of the earthland. They were not too pleased with those who called themselves Jews squatting on their land across the sea. It seems the descendants of those self-proclaimed Jews of that era would be repeating the same Exodus 3,300 years later in the 1948 Western Bank Proclamation of Islamic occupied land. Case in point, the biblical Hebrew stories are not the true origin of the human family. These stories are mostly abstract versions of the divine creation and fall and perfection of man. These stories of the world were learned by the enslaved people, Hebrews, while under Kemetian rule and mystery system. The world's first religious creed, Islamism, by slaves never being greater than their masters, they rarely understand the origin or nature of their master's creed. Anyway, the original Hebrews with Moses' Egyptian teachings did not believe that God or man had beginnings, nor did they believe that spirit man could die, nor not as long as the great God lives. The Egyptians had taught Moses that man is a perfect being. This is why the great Torah, in its original Hebrew text, is by far more accurate than today's infamous Word of God. But only a few NBC people dig back far enough to the origin of a given matter. The truth of the creation and fall of man states time never was when man was not. If life of man at any time began, a time would come when it would end. Most Holy Quran, chapter 1. In contrast to this immutable truth, the Greeks' Holy Bible gave God the creation in contrast to this immutable truth, the Greeks' Holy Bible gave God the creation and man various time slots, with the Bible's infamous opening alpha passage of in the beginning, Genesis 1, verse 1. The creation and man various, in the beginning is the Greek misinterpretation of the Hebrew oral history and became the start of today's Once Upon a Time. Introduction to some Western stories. Only one God, only one kind of person would equate the infamous absolute with the finite duration called time. Perhaps this is why Noble Drew Ali stated, finite mind can't comprehend things infinite. Ironically, the majority of the man-made people, American Negro blacks, have not figured out one major problem. With all the religions, with all the religious and political world rulers and evangelistic preaching about love for humanity, why is it that none of the major religions teach them the truth of who they are? But then again, the problem itself has been a secret till now. Now, with some of the biblical discrepancies and other Greek / Roman slants to the original man aforementioned, let us now remind ourselves of Africa's Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, as documentation, is the ancient Kemethian and Moabite record of spirit man's descent into human form and conscious liberation back to the all of his God state again. For those black African Americans, especially, stuck in the stupor of disbelief and never questioned what God (Greek) is the Bible truly the Word of God, they need to review one historical revelation. The modern world is nearly 86% populated by people of olive skin. There are Bibles in all of them, even Islamic countries. Yet, how many nations and tribes of African descent, all people of hue, own and rule their indigenous land without European intervention? But the Bible and its trademark cross are in these places. And who is the economic for and who is the economic and more often not political, social, and religious ruler of their lands? How much has truly changed since the era of Brother Yehoshua, see Illuminati, So what does this have to do with Adam and Eve? Value, just plain value. Security is what gives a thing value. An accurate, unbiased, and truthful history of any place, person, or time is what gives it value. Security is a manifest of purity, cleanliness, and truth. To see Adam Ish and Eve Isha in their God state as the original man chosen to be made from the soils of Eden, Mexam, Kubalan, Africa, then as the first humans to walk the earth is to know their true history. The true history of Adam and Eve is so infinitely valuable to the Moorish. These were the children of Adam Ish and Eve Isha because they honored not the pardon, so they honored not them and their divine link to their creator. As long as the Moorish nations remembered their sacred origin, they could not be mentally enslaved. This is why it took the nations of Europe under the Roman Catholic / Christian crusades 2,000 years to break the minds of the Moors and the whitewash any Adam and Eve from their memories. In fact, without speaking radical, the Bible is the chief agitator of the whitewashing machine of Adam and Eve. This is the reason they, the prophets, and Yehoshua appeared suddenly pale-skinned in the final rinse of the colored churches of today's Vatican subsidies. Okay. Okay. I'll go ahead and finish reading the value of the divine history. Yeah, I'll read that. Hardly any so-called Negroes, colored folk, or black people read Issa, Isa, and Isha into when they were gods in the garden. Today, they cannot fathom their ancient foreparents as being these gods that walked the earth. Even fewer know they were sun-kissed, with melanin embodied with flesh from the holy, rich grounds of Africa. Less have siphoned the reason why the Holy Lands are in Africa is because it gave birth to the holy people. Tragically, even smaller amounts accept the value of knowing Adam and Eve are their mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatics and Muslims. See appendix, question number 5. But then again, some have been miseducated via a primate evolution. Truth is, because they are not a free nation of people, today's NBC is by far more trained than educated. This formula is verified by the fact only property can be trained while education belongs to the citizens of a free national government. Hence, Negro and Blacks being property names that identify those persons detached from the human family and not having father or mother can only be trained at best. Since the NBC does not have a divine history, they can be trained like domesticated beasts to be professors, judges, generals, and congressmen, etc., for any master's government and social benefit. In the end, the property can accrue national prestige, wealth, independence, and prosperity. Islam, Islam, Islam. I will now hand this meeting back over to our illustrious instructor, Dr. Sheduemiti Amohezi Sepsuel, our National Assistant, Grand Sheik of Moorish America. Islam?
Islam, isn't it? Can you hear me, grand man?
Nope.
Okay, fine. Can any other Moors hear me?
It's a lot of feedback.
That's what I wanted to see. But I'm gonna try to do before I start, because I heard a little crackling going on as he was reading. I'm going to try to go out and come back in. Just give me a second.
Islam, all right. Islam, I hope everyone heard that he was going to go out and come back in. Islam?
Islam.
Islam, can you hear me better now, Moorish Ken?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no feedback.
No, sir.
Okay, gratitude. Islamism. Pardon self for the technical difficulties, Moorish Ken. You know Rome ain't built nothing to last. Islam, Moorish America. Want to rise once again upon the seven within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj, Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution, bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our Holy Prophet brought to make us a nation. I want to give honors to this grand measure brought forth from our Father's treasures. You know, a most powerful demonstration as always, Moorish kin. You know, it don't get no plainer than this. You know, when it comes to dealing with the truth, we are the ones who are the truth bearers, bringing the truth to the manifest and giving our people what has been hidden from them. You know, giving our people everything it is that they have tried to cover up. So our prophet told us that we came as he came, so to speak, to take the covers off of all secrets. You know, when it comes to dealing with organizations and everything else you can fathom when it comes to dealing with what Rome does to really try to keep our people from getting the truth. So it's a powerful drawing just to be here in this new era and time. You know, we always bring clarity to our people. You know, we always give them a grand insight so that they may know exactly what it is that we have to offer to them, you know, and know exactly what it is that has been hidden from them, because there is nobody else out here doing this work that we are doing right now. This particular work that we're doing. We got a few stragglers, trying to come behind us and remix what we done already demonstrated. Are they trying to hide, so to speak, what it is that we have brought to the manifest, and then come back and act as if they came forth with this information? We see all of that going on. But one thing about it, the general opinions of men would never alter the nature of the truth. And that's what we're here to bring to our people. Nothing but the truth and the whole truth, basically, when it comes to dealing with this information. We want to make sure that our people are well fortified. Want to make sure that our people are, firmly founded when it comes to dealing with this information. Because if it's not us bringing this to the manifest, then our people will constantly be misled. They will constantly be led astray. And you will always have those who seek the opportunity to bring them further into bondage, so to speak, when it comes to dealing with this information. So we always have grand drawings to bring to our family. There are no strange happenings. Everything we bring forth is brought forth based upon a calculated expression, so to speak. We didn't just come out here, to dilly-dally and tiptoe through the tulips, so to speak. We came out here to really bring our people the truth and give them that which will strengthen them in their journey along the way. If not us again, then who? Who gonna teach it? Who gonna teach your family if we don't teach it? Who gonna teach you if we don't teach it? And we have proven, again, that's another measure, over and over and over again, how these people have tried to hide this truth. We have proven over and over again and showed you many times. If one has doubt after this, then they love slavery. So we love you too. But by the same token, we got to keep it moving. We cannot continue to sacrifice the hearts and minds of our people, for the grandizement of a few. A few who refuse to embrace the reality of what it is that belong to them. We can't do it, family. We cannot play with our people. Freedom is not a game. We're not here to play. And so we have a lot of ground to cover. We're going to be giving our people, again, revisiting as we go into this present language known as the second Inshet. We just got through dealing with the Meta Ray and Comet, which was a grand cycle, and so we are only getting more refined with this information as we move through these various cycles of going into the language. So every time we come around and we circle that 7, we become more powerful, so to speak, as a result of our astuteness and our will to basically even do this work, because it's most definitely extensive. This work is most definitely a work that's not for the weak. If you don't have patience, if you don't have the will to want to learn, then this is most definitely not the environment for you, because we move at a pace and we are here to make sure that our people get clarity in regards to dealing with this. So this is not a microwave demonstration or overnight sensation, but I can guarantee you when you come up out of this class, or these classes, so to speak, I can guarantee you that you're going to have some knowledge of what's truly being demonstrated, as opposed to what somebody, is just trying to tickle your ears with and make you think they teaching you, but they ain't taught you nothing. Only way a person don't learn in here, family, in these classes that we demonstrate now, like I said, is they basically don't want to. you know, because we got it right here. We giving it to you. We ain't holding nothing back. We giving you the essence of the truth. So it's on our family to go further with this information and do the work. Because we ain't here to do the work for our people. We here to teach them so that they may be able to do what it is that's necessary to be done. And then they themselves will be able to bring our people into a grand insight with their even a better methodology, so to speak, if they feel that they have the will to bring one on the manifest. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna touch on a few things to give our family some background. Just give me a second here. Okay. All right. Yeah, that'll work now. So I got to share my screen in a second here. Just want to make sure I got everything in order so it flows as it should. And that's another thing too, family. We know for a fact that there are those out there that are most definitely trying to blackball us. They can't do it because we ain't no black people. But they are definitely trying to like I say, keep this truth buried. They don't want you to get it. And they're using this information. So let me go ahead and share the screen. That's what it is, family. They look at us as a national treasure. They don't want you to know that they're getting information from us. So they try to exile us, you know, while they come over here and read what it is we have and then get on their platform and repackage it and present it, you know, a different way. We see through all that, though. The real know where it come from. So let me see. I'm going to just go with entire screen to make sure that I have everything here. All right. Yes, sir. Okay, let me go ahead and open this up a little. It's already open pretty big, but we'll take it and go full screen with it to make sure our people can get it. Okay, so we're going to be dealing with, you know, the Demotic language. You know, we're going back into it just like we did with the hieratic. By the time we get through these sessions, you know, our people going to be on more on point than they were before. Like I say, if you don't have the patience, you know, you ain't going to get it. And you got to be, this here is something where you got to do your work. You got to do your own research. You know, this is actually one of the tabs from the Demotic database. And a proper term, again, is second Shat. Second Shat is the proper term for the people. This is, you know, another one of the languages, we can even say the second language that was developed by the ancient Kemites. And here's the actual DFG project dealing with the Demotic Graphical Database Project, DPDP. And you see that this is professor work. You know, you got a couple of different people in here, Claudia Manderna Sebin, you know, Janique Corte, Fabian Westby, Sri Ganesh Tatinputi. And then you can see the duration from 2018 to 24. So this is up to date. This is the database that we utilize, you know, which we'll be going into in a little bit. And just to give some background, you know, this is their rendition on the language. So they tell you here that the goal of the Demotic Paleographical Database Project is to create a digital reference work on Demotic paleography based on a digital corpus of written media, writing media. So it goes into a description here. And it states Demotic refers to both a language and a writing level of ancient Egyptian and was used for over 1,000 years, 7th century BC to 5th century AD. Now, this is very important, family, because what we are seeing here, this is saying that this is Demotic now, and this is the same thing hieratic was. It was both a language, meaning that it can be spoken, You can't speak pictures. You can give an interpretation of pictures. You can give an exegesis of pictures. You know, you can expound upon the meaning of pictures, but you can't speak pictures as a language. Just keep that in mind. We're going to keep telling you that, even though we far beyond dealing with the pictorials right now. So again, Demotic refers to both a language and a writing level of ancient Egyptian. So not only was this spoken language and written level, but it was in use for over 1,000 years. Just like the hieratic was writing level, you know, and it was spoken. That's why they call it the Mediterranean Kemet. It was the language of the Egyptians, right? So anyway, it goes on, it says, it encompasses the various cultural phases of the late period, the Ptolemaic period, the Roman period, right? And was used for a wide variety of different types of texts, from legal documents, accounts, legal and administrative texts, to scientific, e.g. mathematical and medical. So these are some of the most important documents, such as the hieratic as well, because they also had medical, medicinal documents, scientific documents, mathematical. So why would you dismiss this from your corpus if you're going to be trying to teach our people anything about the people? Now, we also see that this is around the time when the Ptolemies and the Romans started coming in. And we also have evidence in these documents, and we showed it to our family in our last cycle, our ear cycle. We showed them where it was people actually saying that they was put out in the sun. They was complaining about the way the Romans came in and was enslaving them. And, you know, it was crazy. Some of them starved to death, or whatever you want to call it, just standing out there because they was under duress of writing at the behest of these Roman tomb raiders. You see? So this is why I keep saying to our people, why can you even get in a mind state of thinking you can promote a bogus Rosetta Stone that was created by the Romans as a decree, taxing our people to death? That's what it really was boiling down to. You know, and it actually, all of these monuments was put there for cult veneration so that the Ptolemies would be recognized as the gods. You know, even so much so they tried to associate with Ra, or Set, Heru, and Al-Sa, knowing good and well that they didn't exist during that time period. So any of our people who promote that nonsense are traitorous, and they committing high treason, you know, when it comes to dealing with our people. But it say this long and diverse use is evidenced today by large quantities of demotic texts on various text carriers, many of which have not yet been edited or examined. So a lot of your Egyptian parts of your Egyptian dictionaries are a combination of hieratic and demotic when it comes to dealing with the linguistics. But also they even have, you know, the later Hebrew and Arabic words also in there, a few Phoenician words. And so these Egyptology books, you know, well, we'll get into it later. But it says the development of demotic sources is not only of outstanding importance for research. When some people think they don't have to, they'll tell you, you don't have to speak hieroglyphics. But anyway, it's outstanding importance for research into the entire historical language development of Egyptian to Coptic, because we know that's what's coming after this one, which was also created by our people, but then later, you know, remixed again to become something else. Above all, the text contain important information on the political, social, and administrative, religious, cultural development of Egypt, as well as on intercultural exchange with Greece, Rome, and other circum-Mediterranean cultures. That's what we learned here. These books in Demotic are so important because they actually have preservation of the history, and it tell you pretty much in real time what was taking place, you know, and how the Romans came in and did what they did. You know, it goes into detail. This is the evidence in the facsimiles, because these are facsimiles we're dealing with Demotic, just like we dealt with hieratic. So a lot of documents that are written, you know, in Demotic, they did the same thing with Demotic that they did with the hieratic, and that was buried on the pictorials. We're going to show you that in a little bit as well. And this is all going back to our reverse engineering process. We call it returning it to the source. So access to this historically extremely important source material, we're going to say it again, source material is of great value beyond Egyptology. Great value beyond Egyptology for adjacent disciplines of antiquity and other humanities. The older Egyptian language stages and their writing systems, hieroglyphic and hieratic, have been explored in numerous grammars. And when they use this, you got to remember, family, that a lot of them are using that type of terminology, you know, because we know the hieroglyphics are called sacred carvings. We also know that they are known as holy impressions, and that's not a form of writing, that's a form of engraving and stamping. You know, so you don't really, you know, even though some people use the terminology, but it's all right. We got it. We get it. It says Demotic, on the other hand, is significantly underrepresented in the field of basic tools for scientific analysis to this day. In particular, dematistics, as they call them, lacks a comprehensive paleography of its sign forms, as well as a glossary of its word spellings based on current state of research. See, it don't exist, you know, when it comes to a particular discipline, you know, so we have to put together our own discipline in teaching our people this stuff. However, such instruments form the indispensable basis for deciphering and scientifically processing the Demotic text. The Demotic Paleographical Database project will produce the first comprehensive Demotic paleography that is not limited to spatially and temporally limited corpus, but includes different text carriers in their chronological, topographical, text type, and material-specific diversity, taking into account all relevant information provided by the text carriers. The complete recording of the writing media allows multi-layered analysis and search functions to be generated, with the help of which a large number of questions demotically labeled artifacts can be easily and quickly processed in a comparative scientific manner. Notice they're talking about science in scientific manner. So this is the science of dealing with linguistics here. And we have our own scientific method. It says the project will thus enable the demoticists, it states, and Egyptologists as well as classical scholars from other disciplines with an interest in demotic sources to effectively date and locate texts, assign text fragments to each other, identify scribes, hands, and holistically analyze the development of the demotic writing and language. So, you know, we got everything here, a lot of tools to work with, you know, when it comes to dealing with this demonstration, very comprehensive. So what we're going to do, you know, and we want to say honor to our family, we're going to go here first. This is actually one of our keys, you know, and this is actually dealing with the origin. And it's always good to go through a brief recap. That way the people that don't know are just coming on here first time, they'll see this stuff here. You know, so we already spoke on the concept of Senzar being the basis of which characters were created to make up alphabet. And Senzar is the language that derived from the ancient Lemurian and Atlantean civilizations. You know, and it has always been a linear style similar to this rather than some pictorial style. You can see the Senzar influence here. We talked about this in one of our previous sessions when we were dealing with the hieratic. But, you know, in this particular measure, we created, and this is dealing with the origin of the languages. You know, the Great Pyramid of Giza over 52,000 years old, according to the Emerald Tablets of Tehuti. You know, our prophet said our flag is over 50,000 years old. That's something to think on. We see an expression of Tehuti here, you know, surrounded by formulas, the formulas of ancient Kemet, you know, that have a lot of metaphysical, esoteric, and symbolic meaning to them. You just have to know what you're looking at. But he is said to be the God of writing. And everybody attests to this. In all different texts, even though he may come under different names, he's still accredited with being the one who invented the letters in writing. Matter of fact, he left Atlantis after Atlantis fell, and then he went into the Nile Valley civilization, and then it was there that he found the people, as they say in the Emerald Tablets, were living a savage life, so to speak, meaning they didn't have any civilization. So his first student was Al-Sar. Tehuti taught Al-Sar, and Al-Sar became the civilizer of Egypt. But anyway, we also are showing some busts from ancient Kush, 5,000 BC. That's crazy right here. This guy looks just like my father right here. You know, and I look just like my father too. But anyway, so these are some of the Kushite expressions here. And if you pay attention, you see they have feathers in their headdress. You know, this is the same trait that our holy prophet adopted. You know, and there are many different measures dealing with this here when you get into this Kushite culture. But just dealing with the style of the writing and the characters, you can see here, when you look at it, and this is actually ancient Arabic right here too. But you can see how this ancient Arabic looks just like the writings on the Emerald Tablet, or what they call the Sabian or the Himyaritic language is what it is. The Himyarite and the Sabian scripts. You know, these are the languages. You see even the Sphinx style up here with the little date palms surrounding it. This is the style of writing that was adopted. See where it says the Sabian alphabet. You know, the Grand Quran gives homage to the Sabians as well. We can actually see this as an Abjad alphabet coming from right to left, A, B, G, D. And so we already know it goes. That's the DNA. We know that it comes from our ancestors. We had here, because we are going through various different expressions to show our family what's going on. We know that the papyri, you know, of Tahotep is dated from around 47, 45 to 46 years, according to what they say. We don't get caught up in the Roman time. But around this time right here, you can see from 3,500 to 3,000 BC, you know, they talk about a building of the step pyramid. And so we can see this as the first style. I always tell our people the real step pyramid over here. You know, a lot of these things were carved out of mountainous structures. And then they was able to go around each step and then use what they had chiseled away and pile upon each level. And this is how they was able to build these structures. You know, the step pyramid is the oldest style of the building. And if you begin to do it to perfection and you pack these stones on here at a certain measure, you can actually make a straight line on each side. All it is just stacking, you know, the blocks or the bricks, you know, so to speak, upon each other. And they are not perfectly cut. You know, you can literally see that these are different chunks, you know, that have been chiseled out of, like I say, the structure that was there. But anyway, enough of that. Let's go here. We already went over this, but since we had a Demotic in here, We'll touch on it again. We came from hieratic. We show how the hieratic influenced the Meroitic script. Actually, hieratic and Demotic influenced the Meroitic script. We showed that this is what we call Ostrakhan. If you want to know what it is, Ostrakhan is, a hieratic, and even sometimes Demotic might even be written on some Ostrakhan. But this is the actual Demotic script right here, which is referred to as Ankorio script. Our brother Mustafa Gadala often speaks of this, and we can see again the style. As I tell people all the time, this is where the Arabs got their style of Arabic from. It came directly from the Demotic. This is actually Kufic Arabic script in comparison, with no vowels being compared to the Ankorio Demotic script. You see the Bedet, the winged sun disk. Okay, so let's move on. And last but not least, we going into this in our next session, but we have the Hekapis script, misnomer Greek script, because Hekapis is really, what they like to call Coptic is really the script of our ancestors. So here are the Nubian pyramids. I try to keep things chronological, so you can see it. This is around the same time that the hieratic writings were invented. Demotic didn't exist during this time. We also went further into Cush, and we quoted the Piscean records where it states, "And Cush begot Nimrod. He became began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it was said, even as Nimrod was mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar." And all of this is basically Cushite in essence, family. When they talk about the Sumerian and all of that right there, yeah, it's all tied in. Just like the 5 boroughs. You got 5 boroughs in New York, but it's still New York. Anyway, that's 4,500 to 4,000 BC. You see the brother. You see a lot of brothers now actually using this style of their beard, right now. You got brothers doing this. They was doing their things. And beard and their hair actually represented status. Who they were. You could tell by, whether if they had a bald head or hair on the chin, and all these things represented what type of priest they was or what class they was a part of. So that's why that's a lot of difference between the way that we deal with hair and styles and all that now. But anyway, the black-headed ones, this is what they call them, not me. The native design, and it says for the Sumerians, 3000 BC. This is one here, Sumerian. So I went here, quoted Genesis 11, 1 through 9, King James Version. And the whole earth was of one language, of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, the same place where Nimrod was said to be, right? The Cushite. We just heard it when I quoted the other one, and they dwelt there. And they said to one another, "Go to and let us make brick and burn them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone and slime, and they had for mortar. So they became, your first stone cutters and, builders and brick masons, so to speak. And they said, "Go to and let us build a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." So their whole intention was to build tall structures, and these structures basically allow them to gain reputation, and they will be renowned. And as we can see, all the way in Egypt and Samaria, the people are renowned for the structures that they have built. It mentioned this even in the Grand Quran when it was speaking of the Sabians. Go to chapter 34 and see what it was saying about the Cushites and them being mighty builders and building great structures. But it says, and they said, "Go, let us build a city in a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad the face of the whole earth," and lest we be forgotten, basically. And be forgotten by our separation into the world, so to speak. It says, and the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they all have one language. This they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them by which they have imagined to do. So this is the Most High, according to the translation now. You know, this is man trying to interpret what the Most High said. And he's saying that the Most High said this. But anyway, it says they won't be restrained from nothing. They got one language. So this lets you know in unity is strength, even right here. But it says, let us go down, and there found their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence the face of all the earth, and they left off to build a city. Ain't nothing wrong with unity and uniting, but when you go to unity, you demonstrate uniting, and you go to thumbing your nose at the Most High, trying to challenge the Most High, that's where the problem come in at. But it says, therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did confound their language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad the face of the earth, all the earth. And we find, though some people may not want to accept this, oh, there's the Piscean, a biblical record, whatever, right? We find out that it is accurate that there was one language. So this is no longer a theory, because we know that it's one language that was used. You see? So think about that in and of itself. One language. Everything else was learned. So, just showing other measures here. You know, this is the Tower of Babel being depicted here with a Nimrod-like figure. And notice that the style of the Tower of Babel was built in a step level, just like what we call the pyramids. Looks like the ziggurats that were found in other countries. You know, this is the actual stone, and this is the rendition of it. You know, everything that's supposed to be on it. Okay. See the ziggurat here? Even though it don't have all the steps on it, this is like more the bottom portion, the bottom level in Iraq. You know, the same areas that deal with, you know, that same style of building. You know, we see here also, here's another one. That same style of building. You see in Mexico, they was doing the same thing. You know, building in a step style. Some people just went on ahead and built in a step form. Pyramid of the Sun is somewhat of a step pyramid. You see a whole bunch of them down here as well. You know, Cambodia. So this became a universal style. This step pyramid style was more adopted by everybody than anything. Pyramid of niches in Mexico again. You know, Java, Indonesia, same thing. You can see this one becomes more cornered off, you know, and almost like a regular pyramid here, even though this had a step pyramid style to it. You can see, you know, if you pile them rocks all the way out, they're a pyramid of Cholula in Mexico again. You know, so they got many different pyramid structures around the world during various different time periods. And as you can see again, the step pyramid, like I said, is the older version. And then they came into this sleek form that goes up into perfect angles. You know, so yeah. But the one that was most far wide was step pyramid. I trip every time I look at this little picture right here. Look at it. They say they the pharaohs, y'all. They wanted to make that memorable. You know, when they see us later, you know, we running. So as we go into certain measures, we're going to learn certain things about language as taught by the European. and you'll know where certain terminology comes. This is Maurice Delafosse, December the 20th, 1870, 13th of November, 1926, and he was a French ethnographer, pardon himself. And the colonial official also worked in the field of languages of Africa. And it was he who put these things into a category of proto-this and, all this different terminology they like to use for languages. Here's a measure here concerning the origin of alphabetical writing. You can find this on Google Books if you look for it. It is found necessary to admit that the various styles of alphabetical writing used by the nations of antiquity were all derived directly or remotely from a common source. We already know that's really Hieratic. Then from Hieratic to Phoenician, or rather, even Demotic, so to speak, in Phoenician. But it says, from a common source, from a single form of writing. Remember, it was said that people spoke one language. We know through the abjad, we can see the connection, ABGD, right? The DNA of the languages. Originated by some older people in the course of their own development. They all belong to the same family, just genetically related dialects and forms of speech constitute one family group and furnish demonstration, and they all proceed from a single primeval language, right? According to the Phoenicians, the art was invented by Tautus, which is another word of taught, a Tehuti basically, whom the Egyptians called Tu. We see Tu, a thought, mentioned in our Moorish Holy Quran. It says, and the Egyptians said it was invented by Tut, a thought, otherwise called the first Hermes. Hermes is the name that's used in Greek. We already touched on that, which is also a terminology that's used, in reference to Enoch. You see? So it says the oldest Kushite alphabet known to us, and we showed you the Sabian earlier. It says to us is that which the Phoenicians carried to the southern and western Europe. See? Which, however, was not preserved without modification. So in the transition of the language, a modification definitely took place. The names of its letters and some of their forms show that it was derived originally from hieroglyphics, is what they're saying here, right? And when they say that, only reason they're saying that in this book is because they were teaching that hieroglyphics came first. But we already know it's talking about the transcribed, a transcription that was created. So we ain't worried about that right there. We know the reverse engineering process they use. But it says Aleph, and they are referring to the so-called Hebrew hieroglyphics, or what they call pseudo hieroglyphs. That's what they're really referring to, because they go right into it. Aleph means an ox, bet, a house, or a temple. And Gamil, see they going in the abjad order, represents a camel or an animal very naturally represented in ancient Arabian hieroglyphics. See, now they're even going into what Arabian hieroglyphics. You see what I'm saying? You ain't never seen no Arabian hieroglyphics. But anyway, it says, but not likely to appear in the hieroglyphical system originating, not likely to appear in the hieroglyphical system originating in any country where the camel is not found, which you don't have. You already know. But anyway, it goes on here. Let's go here. It says the invention of this alphabet, from whence all the alphabets of modern Europe have been derived, was attributed to the Phoenicians. Ascribed to the Phoenicians the great glory of inventing letters. Episogens Phoenicium in Gloria Magna Literarum Inventing unis. But it says this appears to have been commonly said among Greeks and Romans. They could have said more correctly that the letters originated in the country of which anciently Phoenicia was one of the more important districts. So even the Greeks knew this, even though they went to start and call this stuff Greek after they got their hands of it. Or did they call it that, or did the modern day scholars start calling it Greek? But it says, and so when Pliny described the Phoenicians as the first discoverers of the sciences of astronomy and navigation, he would have been more accurate if instead of the Phoenicians, he had said the ancient Ethiopians and the Cushites of Arabia. See, this is what I keep telling you. The original Arabs were Cushites. You know, the so-called Arabs. In fact, the term Sabian and Cush was used, and the Arabic term became used later. This is something that was originated later. Muhammad himself was of Cushite birth, his grandmother and grandfather. I keep telling y'all this, right? But it says the original country of that Cushite race to which the Phoenicians belonged, the original home where this culture had birth, and from which the Cushite colonies influence went forth in every direction to spread civilization and create such nations as Egypt and Chaldea, was not merely the little district of Phoenicia, it was the whole Arabian Peninsula. Cushite. But it says the period of colonizing enterprise, commercial greatness, and extensive empire. Early in this period, Cushite colonies were established in the valleys of the Nile and of the Euphrates, which in subsequent ages became Barbara. Yeah, you already know. Egypt and Chaldea. Its beginning could not have been later than 7,000 or 8,000 years before Christ. And it may have begun much earlier. The Cushites occupied India, that's your Indus Kushite Valley civilization, Western Asia, you know, all the way over into that cultures where into the Mediterranean and extensive regions in Africa. It says in this period, they brought to full development the knowledge of astronomy and other sciences, fragments of which have come down to us through the nations they created and by which they were succeeded. It says, you know, also Arabia was ancient Ethiopia. In early traditions and literally, records of the Greeks in Arabia described as Ethiopia, and its name was applied to other regions occupied or controlled by the Arabian Cushites. In the modern times, it had commonly been assumed without proper inquiry that the Ethiopians were, of course, Africans. And this grave mistake has been the source of so much misunderstanding and confusion. Arabia was the original Ethiopia, language of the Kush. The countries of the Upper Nile were called Ethiopia because they were at first the colonies or dependent provinces of ancient Arabia. At a later period, when the ancient and long continuous sway of the Ethiopians in Arabia declined and gave way to the rise of great monarchies in the Western Asia and India and the Kushite regions of Asia, received new masters and took new names. Arabia itself was reconstructed by new forms of political organization, and finally the later Greeks and Romans introduced the custom of confining the name Ethiopia to certain African countries on the Nile above Egypt. And this is where the prophets say Ethiopia means subdivided. You know, they're subdivided by who? The European. So here is a picture of the Arabian Cushite. I swear this is straight up out of Kemet. The Sabians, this is a Sabian expression. You know, it got a normal-like picture depiction here. Then this is actually one in stone. You see the locks. Same thing here, the beard. You know, this is what they are calling the Arab camel rider. You know, good and well, them features right there is definitely us. See the locks and the beard. Yes, sir. And there again is the same thing I showed y'all earlier, but on stone. You see they honoring that headdress of, you know, Kemet that deal with the reverence of the goddess Heru. crescent with the sun in the center of it. You know, we see in modern time what some of the Sabians look like this sister with her seed. There again is that same language I was comparing again. There it is again, the crescent with the sun. You know, so regarding the language of Sabah, Alessandro de Miagret, an archaeologist who has worked in Sabah for many years, has said the language used in Sabah and South Arabian, a Semitic language linked to Arabic and Ethiopian. Although Ge'ez is also connected to this language. Although this language was mostly replaced by Arabic with the advent of Islam. So they're letting you know, you've seen this before where I showed you the Sabians, you know, right here, offering Iniyat attention, down on the knees, doing supplication, prostrating. You know, we show that to our people. And then when we get into the language, the origin of the languages, we see all the connections. We know Sabian and Kushite is still, you know, from a connection to Kemet. So you see the Abjad here, Brahmi, Karastri, oldest Ethiopic, that's Ge'ez. Sabian, look at the Sabian and the Ge'ez side by side. You have the Nashki script, which later came into the modern expression of the Arab that you see now, the Arabic you see now. This would be equivalent almost to the modern Hebrew that they like to call box Hebrew style, but Sabian would be the ancient style. So they have some Hindu connections as well. We can see a lot of the Phoenician influence, Kemetic, Moabite stone, see the Phoenician, same thing. Then they come up into the Greek and try to remix it. Okay. All this is necessary before we move into what we really want to get into, so we know how these alphabet came to be. See, Phoenician, Ge'ez, South Arabian transcription, Somali Arabic, Ge'ez. Powerful. So let me go further. We don't even have to go into this because that's dealing with the hieratic, but I put a lot of stuff in here like a collage of information. You know, when I was trying to show the origins, we don't have to go into this here because we went into that. But we start right here. We can also see some Demotic and hieratic script here. Yeah. It's KR, look like NR, HR. So that's KR, Kenarhar. And that's Famir. Looks like Lam, Famir, Lam, Seb. Let's see. Rope, Rop. What is that? Looks like Nir Aren, maybe. I'm just really messing around right here, just seeing how quick I can read a little bit up here, but definitely I can see what's being here put here. We can definitely see what the drawing is and everything. But anyway, over here in the Demotic, you know, you can see the Demotic script over here. That's another Demotic portion that they're trying to compare now to the cartouches, you know, that were created by Champollion. Here is the actual script from whence they derive some of the Arab letters. And we showed this, you know, the Arabic letters. We showed this before. We'll get into that in the future. But these are the same things that later became known as your Nabatean. You know, the different forms of Nabatean that are here. See the Pomeranian, Horian, Abshadir, petroglyphs, a Petra language, Sinai, Kufic, Nashki, Kufic again, which is what Arabic looked like today. But look at what it evolved out of. Look at this style of writing right here. Alif, Bet, Yamil, Dalet, that's what they were talking about, the Arab letters. Dealing with Alif, Bet, and Yamil, that's why they spoke of it. So when you look at this style right here, it look different from it, but you can see the derivative, right? Same thing that's up here on this Demotic. Same style of writing. We can see the connection of this also to the Senzar. Look at that. Demotic. Come back down here over here again. And we can go through here and really find each one of these. This X like Aleph over here. You go right up here. You bound to find. There you go right there. You know, you bound to find different forms of the letters that are here. Let's see. Go back here. The bet that they have here. You go right up in here and you look good enough, and you'll find it. And this is a random measure here too, family. Because there are way more demotic texts out here than this one. So yeah. And it's all based on the way that they turn a lot of these different alphabets. So let's move forward. Now, our real evidence is that E. Wallace Buzz was the first one to admit. He tell you right here. This is letting you know where they came up with their compilation of his dictionary from, which most and all Egyptologists draw for because he had one of the most extensive. Among the words given in this dictionary are many which are derived from Demotic texts. So if the Demotic text is the actual written language and everything is derived from that, then we know that it wasn't originally pictorial. As my knowledge of this branch of Egyptology is rudimentary, I have relied for the correctness of their transcription into hieroglyphs. So he did his transcription from Demotic into hieroglyphs. This was their thing. Chiefly upon the works of that of erratic genius, guesswork, irrelevant, and Professor F. Ali Griffith. These scholars have shown that demontologists are able to transcribe Demotic texts into hieroglyphs. See? And Birch's view that they were unable to do this is no longer tenable. So Samuel Birch didn't agree with doing that. But it says about the correctness of the meanings of many Demotic words given by them, there can be no doubt, for the equivalence of a great number of them and their counterparts in form are to be found even in existing Coptic scaling and in the printed Coptic vocabularies and dictionaries, because a lot of that stuff is also Coptic in Wallace Bud's dictionary as well. You know, and so what they did, he admits here, as we showed it to our family before, from the mixed nature in the characters employed in the written language, or rather language of the Egyptians, it is difficult to determine what would be the best arrangement for a dictionary. Even if they were all perfectly clear in their forms and perfectly well understood at present, however, so many of them remain unknown, and those which are better known assume so diversified an appearance that the original difficulty is greatly increased. Every methodological arrangement, however arbitrary, has the advantage of bringing together such words as nearly resemble each other. And it appears most likely to be subservient to the purposes of the future investigation, to employ an imitation of an alphabetical order, or an artificial alphabet, which they did, artificial alphabet, founded upon the resemblance of the characters to those of which the phonetic value was really clearly and correctly determined by later Mr. Alcablack, and to arrange the words that are to be interpreted according to their places in this artificial order. Choosing, however, in each instance is not always the first character that enters into the composition of the word, you know, but that which appears to be the most radical or most essential in its signification. So we see he's talking about this alphabetical order, and then he shows the example of these charts. You know, what they did of that. You know, this is the actual thing that they using. Champoleon's little alphabet is right here with his artificial chart. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I respect Budge. At least he'll tell the truth. You see? It says Hebrews converse with Egyptians. They would converse in the tongue of Egypt. So when they wrote, if they wrote at all, they would use the characters of the country. No tables of commandments written and engraved in stones, no copies of law recorded upon pillars then existing to consecrate in the eyes of Israel any idiom as exclusively or any characters as sacred. This is that alphabet we was talking about earlier. You know, Proto-Sinaitic, Proto-Canaanite, the one, their hieroglyphics that they was using. See the alphabet, Yamil, Dil. See some of the letters even being paired to some of the Sabian letters here. You know? So y'all seen all these here, family. You know, they date this to near the time of Moses and Mount Sinai. You know, then we have this special drawing, a comparison between, you know, the Hebrew, you know, and the concept of the Aleph, the Bet, the Yamid, Dalet, and then it's compared over here. You can see the hieratic Egyptian right here, and then the ancient Phoenician, and old Hebrew, you know. So, like, yeah, this is showing you the different evolutionary process. So again, when they were referring to hieroglyphs early on that writing, this is what they was talking about. But this is not the same as those that your boy was dealing with. Remember, we showed you it's like 4 or 5 different charts they done created based upon the language that you're dealing with. You know, Proto-Sinaitic, Proto-Canaanite. They ain't even right. You know what I mean? And Bud said it right here. Then it follows the Egyptian word in hieroglyphs frequently with a reference to the text where it is found, and there are then parts of meaning. Now, the exact meaning of many words is unknown and can only be guessed at by the context. Y'all heard this, and I done put this out there many years. They tried to talk over this. It says, in some cases, the context makes the meaning of an unknown word comparatively certain, but in others, especially where no probable Coptic equivalent is forthcoming, it does not. And then any meaning suggested in little else than the result of guesswork. You know what I mean? So you got to take it with a grain of salt. But they go in here and they really speak on the formulas and everything. You know, they talk about how they created the so-called determinatives from looking at Chinese language. You know, having the power, tendency to determine, you know, the fix, tending to fix or settle, define something. That's where they come up with that. Just giving you the Webster definition. You know, the present Egyptian dictionary, he tell you that he didn't possess any of the qualification necessary, you know, to do this, even though he compiled it. You know, man, this is something else. And this was one that we went over not long ago when we was dealing with the pictorials. We came out of this text here. And it was talking about the alphabet. You know, the alphabet of the philosophers, Hermes the Great, talked about, you know, the inscription, tables, stones, temples, pyramids, older buildings from the time of the first pharaohs. It does not consist of in a series of letters like other alphabets, but in expressions composed according to the arrangement made by Hermes the Great. These expressions consist in innumerable figures and signs, which are to lead the mind directly and immediately to the object expressed thereby. There's a sign which signifies the name of God Almighty, and they're just telling you about, you know, how the concept of certain pictorials were created. You know, I went and showed certain examples on how when you deal with sound shifting, how some of these words are definitely proven to be connected to each other in the Hebrew and the Arabic, the same word they use for barashit, bari, you know, dealing with creation. That's what the book of Genesis is known as barashit. But the Arabic uses the same word, bada, for creation. So this is what we would call strong words. And I was showing the connection to that in Kepara, because the P is interchangeable with B. And I showed our family how they come up with that as well. So, we showed our family all of these things before, but the grand drawing of showing after we go through all this, you can see the Coptic alphabet here, in its evolutionary process. We already know it's what it is, though they try to call it Greek. Again, right back here, some of this stuff we don't even have to really go through again. But we're really just trying to show you that all the language came from one source. This is our first premise and foundation that we want to lay as we go into dealing with the Demotic. They have a relative relation to each other. Table of the alphabets, even the Punic and the Libyan or the Iberian, same thing. You see? And look at the style. Look just like the Ge'ez and the Phoenician and it's there. So that's the last slide in that particular measure dealing with the origin of the languages. So now that we've done that, now we can get into the Demotic. Again, Demotic is known as second Inshat, right? It says it's a Greek word for demoticals, demotic, meaning popular writing. It's derived from the northern forms of hieratic. The Egyptians call it Sesh Inshat, second Inshat, meaning inscriptions of letters. So you see the difference between hieroglyphs being sacred carved and these actually being inscriptions of letters, the Demotic. It is based off the late Egyptian and predates Coptic. Eventually, Demotic cursive replaced hieratic as the main script in Upper Egypt and was strictly used as administrative, legal, and commercial text, while hieratic and hieroglyphs were used for everything else. It says the Greek language starting to replace the Demotic and helped it with the development of Coptic. Then it goes as a note, sometimes the hieratic or Demotic space would have more than one glyph. That means there's more than one example of the letter in the cursive script. All the Demotic and hieratic drawn by me. So, we can see different forms of this stuff. Here's a writing dealing with a lot of the works of Clement of Alexander and a few more that understood the alphabet. They said in the Ring of Commodus, one of the last Roman emperors whose name and titles we now read carved in sacred characters on temples, lived the Christian writer Clemens of Alexandria. He has left to us in few words an account of the Egyptian writing which must have been given him by one of the learned priests who was fully acquainted with the subject. His words are as follows. Those who are educated among the Egyptians learn first the mode of writing, which is called epistolographic or anchoria. That's again, that's another way of saying Demotic, second Inshat. Second, the hieratic, which the sacred scribes use. And lastly, the hieroglyphic. You see, of this, one method is kyriologic, which is not figurative but spelt by means of the first letters, and the other is symbolic. Of symbolic, one is expressed or written imitatively, another is written figuratively, and the third is allegorical, like some rituals. So they are showing you, the concept of the difference between writing and then also the symbolic. They knew this back then. This is before Champollion started tampering with the language and doing this right here. This is Champollion's chart right here, where he first started trying to transcribe these signs or pictures into the Demotic script, and then i.e. the Greek. So he used the Greek as his base, and then he went letter for letter. We showed us, our family, how it's easy to create an alphabet doing that. Here again is in comparison, the Greek letters, as they like to call them, we know that it's really Hecopter in all actuality. Then these are being compared to different Demotic letters. So we took this and we created a demotic key, and we're going to refine it as well. As you can see, this is all we was able to find at the beginning of dealing with our letters. So we end up creating our own alphabet chart. You know, here are some different expressions of demotic script. You know, they also have ligatures in here that are either single letters, or they deal with biliterals or triliterals, as you can see. Look at they trying to do in the transcription here again. They use these pictorials to try to come up with anything they could. You know, man, this is crazy. But anyway, yeah. Demotic script. You can see the connection. Even demotic relates to the Meroitic script of the Cushites. See a connection. Got the genealogical table of alphabets, Phoenician, ancient Hebrew, or Samaritan. And it gives a history, like showing you where the Punic and all that come from, the Chaldaic system over here, Syriac, ancient Arabic, modern Arabic. We see where they branch it off from each other. Phoenician, from the Phoenician to here, all the way to here. They even have what they call Mauritanic Arabic down here. You see that? African or Sarsian, Moorish, Kufic, or Oriental. They're showing you the branch through which all the language comes. You know, also coming down here to dealing with, you know, different Spanish, Gula, Ethiopic, Russia, Coptic. Oh, man. It just go on. And this is actually dealing with the progress of writing by Thomas Astley, Esquire, London, 1906. Or it might be 1806. You know, you can see over here where they actually showed you, you know, the break off with the Etruscan and the Greek from this side coming over here, and that's how they got there. But yeah, and we even, this is where we actually derive our Moorish alphabet from. We're gonna get into that a little deeper too at another time. We use what is called Iberic Egyptian, which is a derivative directly, and that's the end of this particular measure. So what I came up with around the time of our last session, we went through finding the letters and everything. Boy, that it was hard to do that too. I had to use the same chart right here. See, it say Coptis, alphabet, Coptic Egyptian. Here again is the same little thing that your boy was trying to do. This is when I actually went letter by letter. Me and Brother Marvin Edwards Bay actually vetted these, pulled them out. But you can see here, they actually have, you know, also another chart here that's dealing with the hieratic, and you see the connection between hieratic and demotic. Hieratic and demotic. Certain letters carried right over from hieratic into the demotic, but they also had their own demotic letters. You know, we can see that the Gospel of Thomas, which with a lot of New Testament texts were actually written in demotic language. And Hecopta. That's one of the best kept secrets that people have no knowledge. It's the Gospel of Thomas right here. You know, so I was just showing the languages. So what I created here is the actual key. You know, we had to reverse engineer to show you, you know, these different letters. And they go all the way down in abjad order. I put it in abjad order. I showed the sound shifts and everything right here. You know, and we go all the way down. Then I showed the Coptic comparisons in the Arabic. And we have our phonetic sound chart, you know, that we brought on the Manifest 2 during that time. So, you know, these are different measures of progress along the way that we have tapped into. Now, what we do is that we're able to use the tools and go into this particular session. You know, this is actually dealing with the Demotic dictionary that has been put out here. Let me see. I got to go back. Yeah, and if you go into this Demotic dictionary, you can go right here and hit download, and it'll open up. And this is all A's right here, family. Our scribes, I know they remember this. They got ligatures in here, but some of these are all A's, you know, when you break them down. And they have definitions beside a lot of these particular words. So we can go through each and every one of these and go letter by letter. You know, go to the next letter, and it's going to come up. It's going to yield what you need, and all is well. But there's a process that we use. We write a lot of these letters down in order to memorize them and know exactly what is being demonstrated. You see what I'm saying? Because these wasn't in abjad order. It was in a different order. That's a whole nother conversation. So, last but not least, once you have all that on point, then you can begin to search the papyri in our Demotic Paleographer database project, you know, which is used especially for this. And there are many different ways that we can go in here and vet this and look at these things. We can read whole, and we can go in here and read whole papyri. And they'll take different pieces out and attestations and show them to you. Whatever you're looking for. You know, you hit corpus. Of course, it's going to show you all the different tools here, but it also goes into the different documents, and it begins from the oldest attested Demotic papyri. You know, and you just click on one of them. This ain't our first rodeo. We've been here before. You know, once you click it, it yields the text, and then you can go through here and search the text. And we found out the best way to use this and really deal with a lot of the transliteration. And I see they have some refined expressions of the symbol that actually look like the letters in my chart that I just showed y'all. So that's new. You know, they showing them like this. So I see that they are definitely good on the maintenance of the documents. You know, so let's see here. A lot of time they have your little English here. Yeah, they still got the transliterations here. And then you just take the transliterations and you can go find them. But they're telling you what's going on in these particular documents. This is how we know that there were foreigners in here in this particular area. See, they're talking about the hieroglyphic transcription. Boy, I tell you. You know, we see a lot of these people ain't got nothing to do with Kemetic names. These are also called Greeks. You know, so yeah. There are a whole bunch of different tools that we have to use, family, and utilize. You know, and go in here. We can actually go to paleography. Paleography will bring us back to the original area where we were. We can click on this. You know, come over here. House and records of writing, and it's going to bring up a lot of information, witness scribe, and it's showing you what that is, what's being said. You can come down here and find different areas, what things are located at. You can go up here and find different ligatures based upon those ligatures. Come back down here again, and it actually goes further into them. You can isolate certain things. Come over here, you can look. They tell you this is from the Rosetta Stone, the Demotic that's there. Yeah, so. Oh, yeah. We can actually open this up and we'll see, you know, the different things that's being stated here. See, it's pull one part out of here. Wasir. This is Wasir. We can see here The transliteration, Himneta Ni Amin Nanu Isra Her Ib Hut Neseb and Nebdeti. Yeah, we can see that right there. And it's talking about the prophet of Amin. I can see one aspect right here. Prophet Des Amin, prophet of Amin. Then it give all these other different names that I know are not Egyptian, but so-called Greek. So I love this for this purpose of being able to go into these texts and see who exactly it was that came in to demonstrate the remix, family. That's a blessing in and of itself. You know, we got full text search where you can go in here and look at certain things. You know, you just have to, let me see if it let me do my own thing. Ain't got it. I'm trying to add. I'll just hit search real quick and see what happened. And then go back and try to put it up here. Okay. Yeah, basically, you know, certain things, if they there, you can type them in and they'll bring things up just like the average particular drawing. But yeah, back to the database, and then we got words. You know, they let you do like a lot of searching here, which is similar to what I was trying to do a few minutes ago. You know, so you just have to play with it a little bit and see what you're able to find. Let me see. There you go, right there. Let's see. Come on. This is a new tool too. So yeah, they got different areas where you can actually do your search up here too. I see. You just got to find something that's in the document that's accurate with what's there, and then you can search and find certain things. Is what I'm looking at here. So I can tell, like I said, they've been working on it, but this is your wealth of information here, family. It shows all of the documents from particular time periods, all the way up to the modern time. The most important one that we found was the Tennis manuscript. We're going to get into that a little later. So these are the different drawings that we're getting ready to embark upon and go into. What I'm going to do before I go a little further, I'm going to call on my scribes, you know, and see what they have to say. Islam, you there, scribes? Can anybody hear me?
Islam. Islam.
Okay, Islam. Y'all let me know, because goodness gracious, I know wrong be playing. Islam. Sister Curta Bay.
Oh, I thought that's the grand secretary for me.
Okay, whichever one. They bring it.
Islam.
All we doing is really running down history. We're getting ready to go into it. We just trying to jumpstart the mind of our people at this point. Islam?
Yeah, Islam. And gratitude for going over all this. And like you said, some of it we had already touched. We touched bases with it. We already been over it. And but it was good. It was so good to get that hammer of repetition and to go back over it. And like I said, some of it looked familiar, and some of it I had kind of forgotten about, but you brought it back to our remembrance of what we have done. And what I'm picking up, I tell you, I don't know what kind of mindset we had for when the European when they was changing everything over, and they gonna tell you that they basically they don't have the the knowledge and the understanding to put this stuff down right. But they telling you that basically they guessing at everything they're doing, but yet we take it hook, line, and sinker that this is, it's like Allah then spoke this and you can't challenge it. This is right. This is it. You don't question it. But he told you. He didn't know what he was doing. He just putting stuff together. He told you that in the beginning. It just amazes me how the mindset that we had and the mindset that we still have when it comes to the European telling us things when we know. I mean, we got documentation. I don't know what else to give you, that we were here first. We were the gods of the world, but we fell in our thinking. We fell, y'all. But we was the one who gave the languages to the world. We gave mathematics to the world. We gave it all to the world. And yet you sit here and let these people tell you, well, no, what we saying is the gospel. This is the truth right here. And they tell you that they not telling you the truth, but you almost like calling them a lie to their face. Oh yeah, you ain't lying to us. You telling us the truth. I just, it tickles me. And then it's kind of sad to know that we are in that position, but in that mindset. But it don't take nothing for us to get out of that mindset. All you got to do is open up your heart and your mind and let Allah open up your mind and heart, and so you can see the truth. Tell them to take the veil off your eyes so you can see the truth. Tell them to open up your ears so you can hear the truth that we're speaking, because we doing everything to show you the truth here. And this was just a powerful, wonderful class, Dr. Shahid. Like I said, gratitude for going over all the things that we didn't been over, because it was definitely needed for me, just to refresh my mind. And the tool that you just used, the Demotic tool, gonna be glad to get back into using that, because hadn't used that. Just looked at it kind of other day here, but had never used it in a minute, because I'd be so focused on whatever we doing. And we was in the heretic, and I didn't want to try to, get involved in nothing. I just wanted to stay focused on what we were doing so I could make sure I can understand and comprehend what I was doing. So, but gratitude, wonderful class. I enjoyed all of it, and looking forward to going deeper into this Demotic session as we continue. Islam?
Dr. Shahid, if you're speaking more, we can't hear you.
Your mic muted. Uh-oh.
That's all you got to say. You can't hear me. Hey, I'm over here frozen. I'm like, I know you can't hear me.
His mic.
Here we go. Y'all know how that little Demotic tool do over here, right?
Yes.
It's getting slow and locked me up.
Oh,
so I found a new tool, and I was getting ready to jump for joy and say, "Yay! I got something to show y'all." It's like, I'm gonna lock up on you now.
Oh my God.
So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead and present this screen real quick. I'm not going to go back outside of this and go into it. I'm gonna actually show you from where it is, because I'm afraid if I try to do it, it's gonna freeze up on me again.
Okay.
But I will take you over here to it. Let me open it all the way up as well. Let's see here. Okay. Come on now, y'all hitting the wrong link. Everything but what I want you to hear. There you go. So what it was, I can actually show you. At the bottom of the page over here, let me see. It's a little link it's actually linked to this link. And when you hit that page and open it up, this is, I was just in that top page early, right here. So what it does, it has letter for letter. I don't know why they got all these little A's they putting in between them, but I'm cool with that. That's all right. It shows the original script. I think you got to probably download it to get it together. Let's see, you see your transliteration here. You see your translation, which they help you translate it in some of these areas. Some of them areas you have to translate out of it. But we can see, we'll get into this in a second. But I want you to see down here at the bottom, right here. When you hit that little tab on the bottom, it opens this up. And it actually shows you the attestation in the different papyri and where it come from.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? See how they got it over here? Then they got the little transcription of the. Now I don't know how they compared this and this and this, but that's them again reaching, trying to create something else that don't supposed to exist there.
Right.
But you can see all the different attestations though from the papyri. Is what I'm getting at. And now, as you go all the way down here through the document, and this is going letter for letter, telling you exactly where it come from. You just keep going through it. That's what I was trying to show y'all in this document. But we already have the translations here greatly. Remember, some of them before they used to be all in German and everything else, but they already got them translated. Here are a few ligatures like Isis. They showing you how this look. It's crazy that the Demotic look a little more complex than the hieratic, and the hieratic is older. And that's up. Like the way that they was writing, like I don't know, maybe because they were scared. So yeah, I mean, you go all the way down through this document on each page. Each document was actually breaking them down to the words, and they have the transliterations and the definition. See, like ru to you, between, ru the mouth, man, remet, which we already familiar with that. Ren, name, y'all familiar with these, right? Because we went over them a couple of times. The word remet being man. Y'all ever remember us doing that? But this is in the demotic instead of the hieratic.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
sir.
remember.
Right.
So yeah, this is pretty I like this right here. Like they got Heru, a horse here. So you can
Is
actually
this
go
still a
into
Japanese, brother?
yeah. This
Okay.
same document, same measure. Same one we went through before. Remember, this is our demotic tool though, but it got, this same one got the molar tool connected to it as well. I just didn't click on that. The Coptic dictionary that we went through, it got all that on here. You got a couple of tools in here that we don't really go into. They good if you want to do some deep dive research, but I like to just be straight to the point and not go all the way around the world just to get to it. So here it is right here, like we said before. Hold on, let me get out of this. Actually, right here, back to the corpus. You just go to each corpus. Hopefully that don't lock up. See what I was saying right here? They got it regular, but them A's gonna separate it in a minute. I don't know why it's doing that. But I'm pretty sure if you download the document, it'll come out like it is. They have a spot where you can download. This is what I hit. I'm gonna try this, y'all. Cross my finger. If I freeze up, bear with me. Okay, let's see. Okay, then wait a minute. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close that out when I can. Because it definitely, every time you hit it, probably because I got too much open up. But nevertheless, we can go and find each one of the papyri. As we already know, we've been through this before. This is what we was able to see, that these deities that they had were straight Greek. We're going to go back through some of that to show our family again that don't know. Because that was really the death blow to everything. It showed exactly who the perpetrator was. So all is well. Goodness gracious. So yeah, we got a little work to do in this particular area when it come back to reminding ourselves of the actual language. But just like I went there, you can always go here and you'll still find the actual text. See, you hit that and open it up, and it'll go right in. Let me do this here real quick. Tell you exactly where it come from, what the paper is. You know what I mean? Let me minimize it a little bit. That way you can see the paper better. Facsimile. You know, so yeah, this is gonna be some fun stuff here. But we have the clear things in the actual dictionary. So this is actually different pieces of it in here. This is Berlin Paper 13,529. They're giving you the museum numbers and everything. See, Egyptian Museum. So they have it all down here, and they tell you exactly where it's come from. At the bottom, it says Left Elephantine Project. You know, yeah, British Museum. A lot of the other places. So, yeah. Then they give you the date. Remember, we have all the date and all the information that we need over here. Berlin Paper. Here it is again. This is the phrase that they're dealing with. In the language, I know y'all remember, we can go down here and see here. We already know this. A lot of this is dealing with a lot of the Ptolemy. See, Ptolemy the second, third, and we looked at a lot of these people right here before. You know, I love this when we was going through this, because we exposed exactly who these people is. You know, we didn't have to guess or nothing about it. And the more closer we come up here, we see a lot more, which we didn't go through a lot of this, all this stuff. We just was jumping around in different areas, mainly from the area that they say the Rosetta Stone was created. So we end up dealing with a lot of the 196 BC stuff. Scroll down here, and they was in there telling us what they did with the Rosetta Stone. And that's what really was like, oh man, this is something else, you know, which is right here. This is the Rosetta right here. Rosetta Decree. It's going to change with them little A's probably in a minute. They're going to jump in between there. That's what it's been doing. Let's see. That one looked like it stands so far. Okay. Yeah. So, well, that's cool. That one did stay. But when we came in this one, here's the transliterations here. We was able to go through here. We got a lot of transliteration here dealing with the Rosetta Stone. Yeah, there you go. That's what I was looking for there. We got a few things here, but I can see that it stopped there. Oh, y'all ain't tried to cut nothing out, did you? You might have tried to cut all that information out last time we come in here. We caused a big ruckus, you know, because I know in the bottom of this thing, it usually we able to take it to Google Translate. And it actually goes into showing us. Yeah, it's trying to play around. It ain't letting me get it. I'm trying to get it to where I can highlight something. I'm gonna stop before it lock me up. Don't want it to do that. But Scribe, y'all remember the way we navigated through this demonstration, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So once you're able to do that, we can go in here and find different letters. This one actually, it's a good tool. It's just like I'm glad these things are highlighted, because you know, if we had to go through it manually, it'd be terrible. Y'all would be like, oh, Brother Shaheed. You can't do it. What in the world is this? What you got us supposed to get over here?
I know, right?
Praise
Like
be to
these
Allah.
strands of hair.
I know, right?
Yeah. It's so many tools too at the bottom though. Like right down here, you know, like can be explored. Like just going through this whole thing here. Like I see they got something else here dealing with the Demotic. I've never been in this one. Let's see Clemens. I want to see what's going on over here and see what they done come up with. That don't seem like it's yielding too much. What they got going on over here?
Virtually.
This is something new here. Hieroglyphic and hieratic words. We got some type of new tool going on over here. Demotic word list. Let's just say I'm gonna do this and see what happens. I think they did it like they did that Coptic demonstration. Definitely got to figure out how to use this thing.
No.
Let's see.
This
Page ain't working right now. What? I'm tired of these people. Say what they got going on up here. So yeah, I'm seeing and I'm gonna be honest with you, I ain't never really liked this style of the searching right here. Because it's complicated if you ask me. I'm pretty sure it'll yield something somewhere later. But it just ain't really doing too much.
Right.
Let me see here. I'm gonna go down here and see what else they got. Because it's been a minute since we've been on the site. Okay, Claudia there. Look like all of them making it on. They got the Brooklyn Museum up here. Y'all already know this one right here. We just was in this one, but we'll go back into it. This is the dictionary. This is the one we're gonna mainly be using. We already put it in abjad order. This is actually where you'll basically be able to learn better to deal with these different, or become familiarized with your letters and words. And also feel free to go back to our original Demotic videos that we had. And they'll take you back to certain things as well and help you refresh on what we already know as we go through our phase, this proper phase right here that we're going through now. So it's a whole lot in here they got down here, family. So go through it, play with the tools, see what you can find. I think this is this Trismegistus. I know y'all use this a few times, right? More.
I don't think I have.
I don't remember that.
Y'all never went into Trismegistus?
No.
We heard you say it.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's just another tool they got in here that's giving the history on the Coptic. And they have little stuff in here you can go in here and deal with. It's just so extensive, you can't really cover it at one time. But yeah, this one is also a good one here. This Muso, and they look like they don't went and did this over. Let me go up here. They got the paper database. I want to see what they're yielding in here. 80 hieratic manuscripts, more documents. Look like you got to create a account on this one too, though. Yeah. So yeah, let's see what's in the paper collection. Yeah, you got that. You got to probably log into this one here, from what I'm seeing. I'm gonna try to see, can I do it this way? When you gotta create it. Yeah, I'll wait till later.
And that Shat. Now I was gonna say, when we first went through that, we were just trying to come. I know for me, I was just trying to comprehend and grasp the tool that I had. And when you talked about that transmission, the tool that you just asked us about, I'm like, I heard you mention it, but I'm just trying to comprehend what I'm doing and learn it.
Right, yeah. We never used that one though.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm damn it over there. I'm trying to learn what I already got.
But yeah. I mean, it's all a part of everything that's down here. And so I'm just showing you the different things that's linked to it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that you can possibly use to aid you in things. But some of it, they done changed since the last we've been here. This is the British Museum right here. You can go into the British Museum. They constantly updating the site is what I'm looking at.
Right.
You know,
Right.
got a whole bunch
You
of
want-
stuff down there. Some of this stuff I hadn't even seen till I just come in here now. But the main basic stuff is what I showed you already, dealing with the hieratic language, you know.
And
And
we
they got
can
all I see these. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying now that we then been over it and been through it, it don't seem so scary now, and we can delve into, look at some of the other things, because we got a grasp of what you was talking about when you introduced us to that the last time. So it won't be so bad now. We can kind of explore, and I won't look like Greek to me.
That's right. That's right.
Islam, yeah, it'll be somewhat easier now since
Mm-hmm.
we're familiar with it. Islam,
Islamism without the schism. Yeah, but that's it. That's all though. You know, it just coming in here. You
yeah,
know, you can actually always go to certain aspects of it, and it's gonna yield the information. You know,
yeah, I remember that.
you can go and find the attestations. You know, once you hover over it, you can find the attestation of anything you're looking for. You know, you can come over here and highlight documents, take them out of there.
Right,
This the one right here. I think that'll let us actually do more navigating through it. I want to see. Let's see if it'll let us search. Was it this one? Okay. There we go. This is actually when you go up in here in these different determinants, you can scroll down here, go through this whole thing right here. You can see it. See it over here?
oh yeah,
Book roll. See how these different things they got for a scroll. We know they can't be right here, but all of them can't be right.
right.
But yeah, so you can go through here and just click on one, and then everything that's dealing with the attestation is gonna come up. See them here? Oh man, and then you come down here. Then you got all the books that they come from.
Right.
You know, you can come over here and hit particular ligatures, and they're gonna yield different measures. You can see the actual sound expression here. Chew, remet. Remet is who again? Men, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we come back over here, some of the stuff it jump out. I see like the Sebit. See here. That's remet again.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, you know, you can go through there and find those things, but sometimes it lets you to search certain things in here as well. You just got to get the proper hit. Let me see here. Let's try to see. Okay, that's one. It did. It pulled a letter I up then. You know what I mean? I am in. I just put I am in, and you see how it's changing up here? Like, watch this. Take one out. See what I'm saying?
Islam.
Yeah. So let's take this one out to I alone. See how it's yielding the I. Let's try A. Okay, this is what's being yielded for the A. See that?
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, we're gonna get into the assignment of everything that we bring forth, which we'll probably end up pointing out maybe the first papyri and just going through it, you know, vetting it, seeing what we can find and the history behind it, and so forth and so on. I see they have many different expressions of remet, rek, remet wahye, or wa'e, remeti, remete, remekem. So yeah, They all up in here again. It's showing you all of your attestations. You know,
Islam. Did Dr. Shaheed drop off, y'all?
He might have frozen again. I had to check my system to make sure I wasn't frozen.
I know, right? I was like, Islam? Can anybody hear me? I don't see him. It must have kicked him out. He'd be back in.
Mm.
That Tara at work.
Mm.
Brother Bobby Bay over there drilling something. He making something over there.
Islam.
Islam. Y'all think he know
He said he's rebooting his computer.
Oh, okay. I would get ready to say he might be still talking. Don't even know we can't hear.
Islam, do anybody here Dr. Shaheed?
No, I can't hear anything.
I hear him in the background.
I hear some like in the background, but that's it.
Yeah, that's my phone. He's coming talking through. So
Okay, hold up. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna reset my audio like I talked to Sister Curtis Bay the other day.
all right.
He resetting his audio. I heard that. Like
Yeah.
he showed me how to do.
Right up to it.
Okay, yeah, it just came up. So y'all should hit my audio come through in a second. Okay, let me hit it. All right, I'm
So there you go.
a chance to.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, most definitely. I didn't even click on it yet, but it picked up when I opened it up. So y'all hear me now, more?
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Islam.
Okay, yeah, there we go. We good now. So I ain't gonna try to do what I did a few minutes ago, but what I was saying, I was like, y'all hear me? I said, y'all remember this, right? And I ain't hear nobody. I was like, goodness gracious. when I hit that little camera icon, you know the camera icon?
Yes.
Yeah. I was asking y'all, did y'all remember that you can use the camera to learn how to navigate through the tool?
Oh man.
Yeah.
I wish I could have saw that. I don't remember that.
No, I don't remember that.
I remember that.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go in here. I got a fresh connection. I'm gonna see what happens now. If it lock up, y'all ask for it.
Dendra did it.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna lock up.
All
You
right.
ain't locking up. You ain't locking up.
But we gonna hope it ain't, cause this is the only problem I think this tool have when you got too many pages open. So y'all see me sharing the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, you see my little finger pointing on
Yes.
the air. I'm gonna hit it now. Good luck, cause this where it stopped that last time. Okay, it look like it might come through this time. Okay, there we go. So let me hit it.
It's gonna come through.
Okay, there you go.
Hey,
Oh, I remember that.
That's what I was saying. Like each portion in this thing, it give you all the way to use it. If you don't forgot about it,
Oh
Yeah.
you
I
just
remember.
I remember.
Yeah, see, in each tab it got the same thing, so you can know how to navigate through here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna try
Yeah.
this right here since it ain't yielding too much information and let it play out real quick on remet. See what happens. Okay, so let me take this out the way. Can y'all hear that?
No.
We didn't hear anything.
So I didn't share the audio, but it's just explaining what's here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
We good. We don't want
Yeah,
you to
we
be
good.
locked
We
out
remember
here.
right, yeah, because you see it trying to bubble up. Go ahead and get up out of there.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, but it's actually talking and you can hear it talking. So
Right.
so this lets you know how you shouldn't have a problem navigating the tool, because in every area here, it tells you, here, the camera is everywhere. So they did do that. At least they did that. You know what I mean? And
Right.
you see how to navigate through this thing. So like I say, with this and a couple of more of the different demonstrations down here, you can find out different other information that's in here as well. So it's a powerful tool. But we're going to get into it, and we assign the homework or whatever and everything that need to be put out here. And we'll go from there, and look forward to hearing from our Morris Ken in our next session. But yeah, so remember, you can go over here sometime and just put a word like, let's say M&N, and then I put that in there and you see it yielded something. So we click on that. Hold up. Let me try that again. We click on it, it should pull us something up down here, like it did right here. You put it right here. Get out of there. Okay, right here. And then you just go down here and it's showing you all the variants. And men here means landing. MN. Landing or death. You can click here. It'll deselect it, click it and select it, come back there here, and it actually show you in the British Museum 105508 Ackman. tell you the location where it is. You can click on that, and then if you want to, you can hit text. See, it'll open the text up for you. And once you get in the text, you're supposed to be able to pull this little thing here, bite. There you go. Let me see. Okay, yeah, there you go. And so this is what we're able to get actually inside of the text and read it. And this is where you can actually pull from this and then put it in your Google Translate like we normally do. Look like this showing some type of dynasty over here. Let me see. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's showing how to go into the actual papyri, the different parts of it, like you said, gestations and stuff like that.
Yeah. You can hear me, Brother Marvin Bay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm frozen over here right now. I just got my hands off and letting it buck.
Yeah, the screen. Your screen must have froze, but
yeah.
The audio.
Okay, but y'all know what I was trying to show you. Go into the text, scroll it down, and you can find it. And it'll actually let you click on some of the letters if it ain't like mine is, if my internet service.
Right, like the M was highlighted.
Yeah, it's highlighted right there. You just click on it, and you can go right into it, and it'll take you to them different ligatures and letters.
Right.
You know what I mean? Hold on, I'm gonna try this real quick. Because sometimes I can hit the start tab. And
I'm looking at the top of your screen. It says Microsoft Edge not responding.
Yeah, there you go, right there. I just got it. See, I hit that little start. I hit that start tab that's on there.
Okay.
And it'll make it move. It'll do something to the computer for some reason. It'll stop it from being stuck.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
You know what I mean?
It's clear now.
Yeah, it's moving up. And so it's still kind of stuck a little bit because I can tell the way the cursor moving. It still ain't fully processed yet, but it is processing a little bit. I want to get it to where it actually
like a lot of information. You got a lot of tabs open up there too. So
yeah, I got a lot of them. That's what I feel like. I'm gonna try to close some of them once I get this thing. I'm gonna see if I can close some now. See, now I try to close it. Then got up there and tried to freeze up on me again. Let's see. I'm gonna go down here and hit this again at the bottom and open it up. It's something about hitting that tab when I pull it up, and it'll get it back right.
Because all I see when it pops up again, I don't really see.
What it does, it just pull it up and you let it sit a little bit, and like it closed, it stopped the freezing in the background.
Right.
I don't know. It's
something. It's what freezes.
Yeah. I'm over here now trying to see.
Might have to use a different browser, maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying something like Google.
That's the browser I normally use, Google. But in this one, it's recording all of this here already. So that's why I don't never I always come through this because this is what the tools.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
this is where the tools at. Okay. I'm trying to see if it open up again. Yeah, if it do, I'm gonna try to close down a lot of them. There you go. I'm gonna see if it let it bring me out of the freeze zone. Cause if I hit anything else, it's gonna probably lock all the way up. And I'm gonna have to shut down. I'm gonna try something in a second if this don't work. Let me do this. Nah, that ain't working. God almighty, no. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, that's coming up. I'm trying to do my task manager real quick, family. But sometimes this override the system where I can actually go in there.
I'll try something different.
may end up having to close it down because it still ain't doing it. Can y'all see that rotating right there?
Yeah, it's preparing security options. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I just got too much information on these computers, even though I got an external drive on this thing now.
Yeah, I think it's the operating system.
Yeah, that might be what it is. Either that or it might be still tripping from this storm we had because it did mess our internet connection up. I'm literally running my internet through this computer now. Through the hotspot that's on this computer.
Oh, okay. Well, it
won't connect to my regular internet directly. I got to use this Camelback it.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. I just hit my Taskmaster. It should be pulling up the active window in a minute to show me where I can close stuff out at.
Yeah, I haven't used the operating system in a while, like Black Hat. I forgot the name of them, but yeah, I think I'm gonna look into those.
Right now, it's showing that you got a prompt screen up that says searches for app settings and documents.
That's the one.
But it ain't showing me that over here though. Like I can't see it. I'm still over here on the other side. I'm trying to go through there and there you go. Okay.
There you go.
So it go right there. That's what I was looking for. So it done closed everything down. So I'm making it feel like I want to close these windows out, but now it's better. So I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna just close out some of these windows manually. I got quite a few of them open up here. And all of them running off that same engine, so that may be why. Because it can't pull them all at one time. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now that I got them all off of there, let's see. We'll close this one too. I'll send that to y'all. Well, the other ones, they ain't really affecting. It was really mainly all the ones that's a part of the one to see. I can scroll it now. See what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, part of that particular app.
Yeah, because I had too many because it's running the same engine. Probably that's probably why I did that. I was just trying to go down through here and show y'all, what was in here. And it should. I see a lot of numbers up here. I'm really interested in seeing what's being said in here. But I see they going number by number. I want to try to find the translation. Look like they only have translate. Okay, they got the translation right there. And I want to see if I can capture this. Okay, it let me capture it. Remember before I couldn't capture it. Oh, I forgot I can't put too much because the other thing ain't gonna recognize if it do. Let's see, copy. And I want to go to Google Translate. Let me see something. Because if I can Google Translate with smart technology, they might have a translate. Yeah, there it go right there. Yeah, okay. You see that right there?
Yeah, that was nice.
Oh yeah. Just doing a little thinking. I'm like, well, if they got that, then they definitely can translate. Let me do that. That way we ain't got to go to Google Translate. I know I got something to think.
It's long.
And sometimes Google Translate want to act crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Like who your mama is.
So we can translate that part. We can translate right here in it. So it say they had ritually cleansed for the priesthood of Re. One of them had a name Tanupis. We know that wasn't original Egyptian. That's some Greek stuff. Hasheshuk, and the other of them had the name of Ramosi, Harasi. The two married, and of them were given a boy Tanupis, and was called Shashunki by name. The boy Ramosi called him Harsisis. Harsisis. And they were given into the lap of the nurse and were brought up, and they became strong, and they were sent to school of Heliopolis. It came to pass that there was not a young man among the priests of Re who belonged to a family of their fathers, mentioned in the scriptures. Did they talk about Moses or somebody? I'm messing with y'all. But anyway, the head physician asked him about many things and answer. Oh, this is gonna be some interesting stuff here.
You talking about?
Can actually go in here. Huh?
I'm saying he's talking about one of the significant figures up like that.
Yeah, so yeah, this is gonna be a grand draw. Mother, the goddesses, and goddesses. Yeah. I'm familiar with Kinshunki. I just ain't read the whole measure on Kinshunki. So yeah, okay. Well, at least we showing you how to go into this Kinshunki part himself. You know, at least we can show you, because he has some wisdom teachings, I remember too. You know, you just go in here like we said and just highlight it. And like I say, highlight it and it'll translate it right here. That's quicker than it was. That's quicker than the other process we had. Translate the English. Give it up. Oh Lord. Let's try it one more time, people. Unless I got too much selected. I don't look like too much. I'm gonna try it again.
Try a little paragraph or something, like right there.
Let me know that they trying to conspire against me to kill me. That sounds like one of the adepts. Right?
Yeah, that's interesting because you was able to do it right away before. So
it's the system probably stalling on me again, probably.
yeah.
Oh, they done ate their bread and they want to kill them. Lord. Oh, this one right here is a drama, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Well, all is well, Morris Ken. We see what we're working with. We'll actually address a lot of this right here when we send the message out, but I just wanted to show y'all certain aspects of what I know on how to go into it, you know, and that pretty much is where we at. But you want to pull it up, like I said, you just go down there and you hit the document. You can pull up images, you know, and this image is already there. So you go here, you can hit context, you know, and go up here again. And then it tells you the context of what's being stated here. Let me see if it let me translate this. I'm gonna see if it let. It's a small portion here. Still ain't let me translate right there. See, that's what I don't like when it getting iffy on me now. And in this case, sometimes you may have to take some of it straight to Google Translate. But yeah, that's it. And now it done pulled up the rest of the image right here all of a sudden in the background. They got it blowed up, but I'm just trying to minimize it a little bit so y'all can see. Definitely you can see that Arabic influence in here. Yep. So, you know, this is actually a whole papyri. This is from the British Museum again, 10508. So, yeah. Yeah, family, we going to go into it, though. You know, but what we going to do, we're going to open up the floor for our scribes so that y'all can come forth and give your measure. And we'll be prepping for the next drawing. Islamism.
And gratitude. And it's Dr. Marvin Evans Bay. Praise and honors have been given. Yeah, this tool here, this is like a newer version of the one we used to use before, right? Islam? Dr. Shaheed? Well, anyway.
It's actually the same tool. They just added to it.
Right. That's okay. That's what I'm saying. They updated it or something. Yeah, but it was powerful. You know, that's a powerful tool within itself. Like I said, and I'm thinking if I can, I think I'm gonna try getting a different operating system. One of those I can't even think of the name of them now, but they're more stable than say Windows, and it may help. I don't know. I'm just
trying. You talking about a gaming system?
No, you heard of Black Hat? I can't even think of the name. About to be, you remember? Different operating system. Oh, he might be working. So
you
anyway,
Black Hat.
Black Hat. Yeah, it's a different type of. It's not a Windows. So you got the Windows based.
But you talking about search engine?
No, it's an operating system. I'll do the research on it. And I'll let you know what I'm talking about.
It's
And I
not.
try to use it. Yes, sir. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the homework, and hopefully we can get it early enough so because it takes time to go through this stuff. And let me say, it's very promising. Gratitude for allowing me to speak. Islam and peace.
Well, Islam and peace.
Islam.
Islam, Grand National Secretary of State.
Islam, gratitude. Having already risen, giving praise and honor where due. This is a powerful class, as always, Dr. Shahid, and much gratitude to you. I'm looking forward to going back into the Demotic or second in Shat, and I really appreciate you using a hammer of repetition, because when we look at when you were bringing forth the various source materials and Demotic and hieratic, they were speaking of both as language and a writing level used in Kemet. And again, you clarifying you can't speak pictures, so we know that they're dealing with formulas. And just in being able to go back over the tools and see the updates and things of that nature, that was very powerful. And it looks like it's going to be a lot more in depth right at the fingertips, as opposed to when we first went into it. We were really searching, and sometimes the things didn't work, but they look like they're flowing smoothly on this database of the Demotic. And I also look forward to that book dealing with the origin of the alphabetical writing back there in the 1800s, because when you gave us the keys in reference to try to go back to the books as far back as you can, and usually you'll find where they're giving up the truth in reference to they don't have a clue and what the actual history is. And similar to Dr. Dendra, when it was speaking about to deal with employing an imitation of alphabetical order or artificial alphabet, where they're actually coming out giving up that we don't have a clue. But we see that most of the Egyptologists, for lack of a better word, they're still following that special demonstration and trying to put the light out on what it is that you have been bringing to the floor. So and we see out there dealing with the remix, or trying to nullify, keep our people back in the shallow grave of unconsciousness, but it's not going to work. And coming from that Tower of Babel, where it's speaking about all language from one source, we have to be able to, and going back through these various source materials, be able to see that golden cord of truth, that golden cord of our history versus his story, so I look forward to getting into the Demotic. And I remember when we were pulling like the letter A and all of the variations and words of letter A, going to the B and all of the variations, so it's immense and it's vast, but it's ours, so gratitude for bringing these keys forth and taking us step by step and taking us cycle by cycle, so that we make it a part of every part. So gratitude more for all the work that you do, and much peace and love to all of our family.
And peace and love, we can only get greater later. That's right, Grand National Secretary of the State. Ooh-wee. Well, all right. Next scribe.
Islam.
Islam, Brother Bati Bey.
Islam. The thing that I enjoy about these, like I said, I like the demystifying. It's almost like a treasure hunt, because we're getting things where we're clarifying things that people have misconstrued. Well, I'm gonna say cunningly misconstrued, because this was all planned so that we can never reach the heights of what a nation should. And so by us doing this, you know what I'm saying, people don't understand the gravity of what is being done here when we're looking at the languages. You know, especially when we get to pulling our own together, and we can, just like every other nation of people have their own language, have their own modality. We got our own, and we're creating it before, before the people, so they can see, the how it is to build. There's got to be things that is not necessarily appeasing to other people that has to be done. You know what I'm saying? And for a lot of people, they don't think that, I ain't gonna say a lot of people, but there's people out there that don't think that this is important. And yet I strongly beg to differ on this, because when we speak our own language, that means we have the ability. When we speak our own language, you have the ability to actually manifest the powers of it, and we're taking on the strength of the words that from our ancestors too, when we're in use of this. So there's a lot to be said. We're rewriting the laws, we're rewriting history, we're rewriting Prophet said, when you get a pen in your hand, you write your history and sign your name to it. And that's what we're doing right now. And with that, I leave us a come in peace. Islam.
Islamism. Yes, sir. You said it best, brother. Oh, man. Well, do we have any other scribe that would like to speak?
Islam, I already gave my measure, so.
Okay, Islam.
Islam.
Okay, and Marvin Edwards Bay gave his measure. So Islam, family, we ain't gonna hold our family up no more. And we apologize for the technical difficulties, and just say gratitude for the work that we have to do, because we got to do the same thing with this Demotic that we done with everything else. And we're gonna become strong in this cycle. Mm-hmm. So that being said, I want to say gratitude, peace, love, and law at all costs. And we'll turn the meeting over into your hands, Sister Curtis Bay, so that you may take us to the degree of unfoldment. Islam.
Great class. Looking forward to what we got coming up. January 15, 1929, a warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in the prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by the order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. A holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity. And prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, and your love to each other. Islam, Islam, Islam. This meeting is officially adjourned according to Act 2. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Go in peace, Moors. Islam. Great class.
Great class, Dr. Shaheed. Gratitude, Moorish Kin family online.
Islam. All family. Gratitude.
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 Islamism without the schism.
Peace and love.
Goodness gracious. Rome ain't built nothing to land. But we gonna make
That's all right. We got the truth anyway.
Yeah, we got it.
That's right.
Can't stop us.
That's right. We're gonna make it land. Islam.
Islam.
Right, Moors. We'll see y'all later.
See you
Y'all
later.
already know.
Islam.
Peace, love, and law. All right, we want to give honors to our family out there in social media. You know, everybody that showed up, you know, everybody interested in learning, those who held fast and those who had to go. You know, Noble Brian, Tarif Bay, anti-American, American-born dog. You know, Divine Angel Wisdom, Fractious Cat. You know, all of y'all. All are welcome. So we'll see you in the next session. Peace and love.